I love when I get the Java update notifications within like 5 minutes of the stream starting. Not even 5 minutes. Also, I just realized I should be using a different audio thing. Yeah. And now I'm gonna get a lot quieter. But there won't be as much white noise. This is the trade-off. The law of equivalent exchange. Since I plan on doing most of the talking in this stream with other people, I should probably open up Discord. It's probably a good idea. How am I doing? I'm doing quite well, Koji. How about yourself? If Discord would load, that would be nice. Though it doesn't seem particularly intent on doing that. I don't think it likes that I restarted my computer a little while ago. It is not pleased in the slightest. I wonder if I turn up my computer volume, will I get louder? Doesn't really seem like it. Oh, I should also just turn up my volume on OBS. I forgot I had it turned down. Bo, the Norse gods are stronger because Kratos is stronger, and he fights everyone with teammates, pretty much. We got 6 people in here, only 3 likes. If you guys just hopped in, should leave a like on the stream. Okay, so I think I have to quit Discord and then open it back up so that it updates or some shit. Yeah, there we go. Very convenient time for Discord to be having issues. You ate a bit and you feel full of energy? That's great. I'm the type of person who eats and I feel lethargic. Unless I'm at work, actually. When I eat at work, I feel revitalized. Any other time, I just feel tired. Probably because I'm not fucking doing anything. Probably because I'm not doing shit. Okay, so let's go into announcements. I'll let everyone know the stream started and that I am here. And then hop in stream VC. Voila. So whoever intends on joining to discuss the game, now is the time for you to do so. Oh, I should probably include there's going to be spoilers in this stream, because, you know, there's going to be spoilers in this stream. Hello, Neve. Have fun playing D&D. Is this a play-free session? Play-free runs Friday sessions, right? Could he take a Friday off for once? Can I do a nice Friday stream without him taking God's strongest schizoid? This isn't hitting the vibe. What will hit the vibe? This, maybe? Koji will just be watching and enjoying the stream. That's good. it is a bit loud now, so I'm gonna tune that down a little. Chilled, do you want to get in VC? You were like the one singular person there for like every single stream. You stayed up until like 6 in the morning for the final main story stream. So for some reason with the built-in music thing that comes with like Windows, it'll auto loop when you click on a song, like from your files or whatever. But usually when you click onto it in the actual music application, it will never do like a real loop like you want it to. Thank you for the yeah. I hope that would be a good review, Tater. When you can do 25 minutes for a review, you know it's a good one. Unlike this, which will be God knows how long. I don't imagine this is going to be a super long stream. Excellent, excellent. This is very good. I just had a Neo's typing moment. I saw it. He was fucking typing in the text-to-speech chat. Hold on, I gotta hit him with that GIF caption. Hello, Chilled.
Salutations, my good chum.
Oh.
How are you? You sound tired.
No, I'm good. Just had some hot chocolate. I'm feeling great.
Oh, that's excellent. That's delectable.
Indeed.
Think you could punch your way out of a domain? Probably, yeah, totally. That 100% sounds like something she could do based on my current understanding of how her power works.
It would be a nice contrast since, you know, it's said that it's hard to punch your way out of one.
Oh my fucking god, you're correct. We have 9 people in here, only 4 likes. People? If that like button isn't lit up, or however the fuck it looks on whatever platform you're watching it on, click it. Tap it.
Oh, hey, Neo.
Interact with it in some way to make the big number go up.
Miss called me out, so I have to be. So I am obligated to be here now.
Yep.
Same
How
here.
much of the game have you seen? Like all of it?
All of it, pretty much. Yeah.
That's
all
incredible.
of it. Lacking on side quests, but that's fine.
Very good, very good.
I was watching another playthrough as well, so.
Yeah, well, I was watching, like, Mahler's playthrough for it. The guy has, like, very stinky movie and television show takes, but his playthrough was pretty good.
There's a lot of good comparisons to be made with the previous game, so this will be fun.
Wow, it's almost as if there are 2 games that are part of the same saga or something.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we should mention
just thematics and stuff.
It's funny how they when they were releasing like the final TV spots and stuff for this game, they're like, it's the finale of the Norse saga. I'm like, saga?
It's literally just a duo. Then again, this game's like double the previous game.
2 games. Can you?
Yeah. So initially I'm like, bro, the original saga was like 6 fucking games. And then I
Yeah.
remembered, like, you could fit all 6 of those games into these 2 and have room.
True.
Yeah.
Previous games are
Pretty
a lot
much.
more direct in their storytelling.
Well, I mean, they're
These are more
just,
open-ended.
they're character action adventure games.
Yeah, with like levels and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas these are RPG games with
Yes.
open world elements.
Pretty much.
So you can just do
Yeah.
things at your own point.
Mm-hmm. So, naturally, because I'm me, I have no notes. I have nothing written down.
Improv, let's go.
Improv is my strongest skill. Oh, you finally met
This is where we
Walton
go.
Black in
Where we're
AET?
all
I mean, took long enough. We knew you were gonna meet him eventually. Hold on, I gotta promo all my shit. So, well, let's see. How long did it take me to beat the game? I think it took me a little over 20 hours. I think it took like 22 hours or something. 23? Something in that ballpark, I do believe. And then did probably like another 10 hours with side content and post-game content.
Yeah.
So, it's a
A
big
whole lot,
fucking
like-
game.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the, yeah, I was watching the founding member of the Toxic Brood. Well, I'm gonna watch the fucking EFAP episode they do on Ragnarok, because apparently they're gonna be doing one, but, like, I don't really watch any of their other stuff anymore. Because they just seem so smug and miserable at the same time when they talk about, like, basically any piece of media.
That doesn't sound
That
like
is-
a fun combination.
Quite the conundrum.
Yeah. Well, so,
Shall we begin?
shall we begin? What should I begin with?
Where the last game left off?
The last game, well, I'm not gonna talk about, like, everything that happens in the game in order. I'm just gonna talk about parts of the game in general. So let's start off. Do I want to talk about positives or negatives? Or maybe I shouldn't go in such a black and white manner and I should just talk about overall topics.
Yeah.
The story.
Yeah.
The story
let's
in
do
this
it.
game, as a narrative, in terms of narrative structure and stuff, is not as good as the previous game. The previous game was narrative and character driven.
It was
Kratos
a
and
lot more
Atreus were
personal.
given... Yeah, it was a more personal journey. They were given a very straightforward quest. You're going on a quest. We have a goal that we are going to achieve. Everything that we do is in pursuit of that singular goal.
You gotta bring the MacGuffin to a place.
Yeah. In this game, it's pretty much, oh, we're kind of doing some shit, I guess. We get the boys back
Expanding.
together, we acquire some new boys, and we do some shit. I mean, literally, we acquire some people in the group, and I mean, we also acquire various
A
people
rat.
that we use the boy button for. The boy button, which has now been renamed the companion button, because you will get more than one companion in this game.
And eventually the woman button.
Yeah, the woman button. I guess that's what you could call it by the end of the game, the woman button. I do believe Kratos called her woman at least once in the previous game, so that tracks. That works.
Oh yeah, when Atreus is sick and he
Yeah.
barges through the door.
Right.
Woman, let me in!
Yeah. So I don't think the story, as a story, is as good. But what we instead have is character interactions. Because the story of this game is less narrative-driven and more character-driven. And I like character-driven stories. I like when the narrative progresses because of the characters' beliefs and choices. There were a lot of people that were very concerned that after all of the development their relationship got in the previous game, that they were going to make some very artificial reason for Kratos and Atreus having conflicts.
But no, it's very human.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. For starters, Atreus is now a teenager. He's rebellious. He has burgeoning independence.
A lot of it is built on the idea of trust this time.
Right. And also, he's having a bit of an identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Because he finds out, at the end of the last game, he was supposed to be named Loki. And also finds out, like, there's a whole bunch of, like, probably prophecy shit about him, because that's kind of the Giant's whole big thing. So he wants to learn who he is, what his place in the world is, what he's supposed to be doing. And Kratos just kind of wants to, like, chill the fuck out. He just wants things to stay the way they are and not change, and he doesn't like Atreus going off and doing all of this stuff. And then, because of Atreus going off and doing all that stuff, looking for Tyr, because he thinks Tyr will have answers, that gets the attention of a certain one-eyed gentleman and his giant end-stage alcoholic son.
He's a suffering, recovering alcoholic.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of the characters in this game, I've seen a segment of people that don't like this game's version of Odin. I've barely seen anyone that dislikes Thor. There were people that were like, why did they make him fat? That was what they did when his design originally got revealed, and then within like 10 minutes, everyone was like, this dude is like a fucking gluttonous brawler. He has a powerlifter build. Of course he's gonna have a big fucking gut. No shit. And then he has really good characterization throughout the game, due to, some stuff that I'm aware is, somewhat controversial. Not the most liked part in the game. Probably what a lot of people consider to be the weakest part of the game. And then we have Odin. And there are some people that don't really like this Odin. He's played by Richard Schiff, who
Kinda subjective.
It is subjective. This is this is a subjective issue, whether you do or don't like Odin. Odin is very different from pretty much any other depiction of Odin I've ever seen, and he's also very different from pretty much all of the other gods in the franchise. And that instead of being this big, brooding, intimidating, statuesque deity, he is a mob boss.
He's a frail old man. He is the Godfather.
He is like the Godfather. And he talks like the Godfather.
Which I like.
I like. Some people are like, he talks way too modern. He sounds like someone from modern day as opposed to someone back during these times. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I mean, that was kind of part of my initial reaction, but like, I don't think a lot of these characters speak the way people would back then. I think most of them speak a little bit too modern, especially someone like Brock. I mean, I wouldn't say Brock speaks modern, but his usage of profanity doesn't really seem like a medieval character.
Oh yeah, that is something. This game uses a lot more profanity than the last one.
Well, that's because in the last game it was pretty much all relegated to Brock, and now we have several more characters.
Mm-hmm.
One of whom is a raging drunk, and the other of whom is the raging drunk's father.
That is not a nice way to describe me, Misc.
I'm not describing you. I'm describing a big man with a hammer.
Stop describing me like that. Jesus.
He's a giant alcoholic ginger.
You're not a ginger.
I am actually not a ginger. Alright, so you're not talking about me.
There.
Tell me, Griever, have you ever seen the Thor design for God of War?
Yeah, actually, I watch most of your streams, man. Like,
oh,
I usually watch them
what do you
back.
know?
Lovely.
So, I am caught up, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That makes this great.
Yeah.
That
So
makes this very
I know most of the, like, I do wish I had time to play the games myself, but usually, like, if I'm setting up or Christmas decoration or I'm cooking or whatever, I usually just put on a stream in the background, and if you happen to have a VOD up, I put it on the TV.
You know, that's fair.
So
Anyway, what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, I mean, obviously the big raging drunk guy is gonna curse a lot, and then Odin's kind of a dick.
A manipulative guy. Who...
Actually, I've noticed mostly the villains curse a lot more. I mean, I think Baldur cursed like a little bit, but there's more of these guys cursing now. And also Heimdall's a huge cunt, so he curses a little bit out of frustration occasionally.
Yeah,
Heimdall.
he mainly does it for boy.
Mostly boy-related profanity. Yeah, they're... I like those characters a lot. We can probably talk a little bit more in depth about them later.
We can probably like separate it for each one, give
Yeah.
them their moment.
So I think the story and characterization overall is really good. Though I do think there is a negative, one con to the story and the gameplay stuff. Pacing. I think the previous game still had some pacing issues. For me, the Alfheim segment was always like a really big drag on the pacing.
Yes.
Just for me personally, I was just kind of like, I don't really care about Alfheim. I still don't really care about Alfheim when we go back there again in this game, but it's like, we have the Light Elf enemies now, and they're cool.
At least.
The desert is cool. I like the giant fucking sky jellyfish. They're great. But the Atreus segments are mostly fine. I like his gameplay. But that second one with Angrboda, that's like 3 fucking hours.
That drags on way longer than it needed.
That's like 3 fucking hours, and like half of it is going around collecting like fucking fruit.
Fruit for the goat.
It was so boring. I liked the Gryla boss fight at the end of it. It felt like something out of like a fairy tale. It's like
also,
these fucking
yeah,
kids
also the
wander
ending
into
when you
a
make-
giant's fucking kitchen, and they have to destroy her cooking pot that she uses for stealing souls. That sounds like something out of like a children's fairy tale. I liked that. But like,
and when they make a young Jormungandr, that's pretty good as well.
that was cool as well. But like, this is like fucking a 3-hour chunk out of the game.
When it only really needs to be like 1.
Right. The whole fucking fruit thing was totally unnecessary. I like the yak. We didn't have to walk around on the yak for like a fucking hour. Okay? That was
Cool.
not good. I love that yak, but like, come on, man. That was ridiculous. At least the like the first Atreus segment's alright. That one is but then the ones after, they're pretty good. Mostly because
The
they're Asgard
Asgard
related
one.
stuff. And that's where the
The
Atreus
Asgard ones are
segments
some of the best.
that's where the Atreus segments become very good for the narrative, because they allow a bit more perspective than you would have been able to get normally. Because I mean, in the previous game, you just follow around Kratos the entire time. It's always from Kratos' perspective, and that's usually who you get the perspective of in the game.
It's much more one-sided back then because you're only hearing from Kratos or Mimir or Freya.
Right. Where, in that case, you don't really get any kind of perspective from the antagonists. Whereas in this game, we get a lot of perspective from the antagonists. And that's kind of important.
It's a good pro.
Yeah, which is why, this game has the best villains in the series. Because they're more like actual characters, as opposed to, fuck, let's go back through the catalog, shall we? Ares, what's his motivation? He's an asshole. That's Ares' deal, he's a dick.
He wants to take over Olympus.
Yeah, that's it. Why? Because he's an asshole.
pretty
Zeus,
much.
what's his deal? Oh, he's a dick.
Pandora's box.
Pandora's box, he's been infected with fear and he's terrified of you dethroning him and taking over Olympus. So he decides to be an ass to you. Fucking, well, we got the spin-off antagonist. Persephone was honestly the best one because
she didn't really have any personal grudge against Kratos. It was more so her being like, I am so fucking sick of all of this bullshit. And that becomes Kratos' problem.
Yeah.
Thanatos,
That's pretty.
he just exists, really. He's
He's
kind of a
kinda
dick,
weird.
but he's also just kind of doing his job. So, for him, it's very
He
impersonal.
exists.
And then the Furies are just assholes.
That's basically what.
Furies are just
Yeah.
assholes.
And Gaia.
Gaia's not really an antagonist. If anything, we're the antagonist to
Yeah.
Gaia, because Gaia's trying to finish her war. And then fucking
Yeah, that's fair.
Kratos is just like, no.
Hill.
No.
No, fuck you. You didn't somehow stop me
I'm
from
gonna kill
falling off of your back. I'm going to fucking kill
Somehow.
you. Whereas with these games, you had Baldur, who was a guy driven insane by his mother's overwhelming desire to protect him, her overprotectiveness, and now is just kind of doing whatever he can to feel something again.
He's a broken individual.
He is
which
a
gives him
broken
what-
man. And is also a good foil for the way Kratos used to
pretty
be,
much.
because he's fueled by revenge against his godparent. And I don't mean that in like the legal sense. His parent who is a god.
Yeah, it's like a parallel to young Kratos.
Yeah. Then we have this game where Thor is pretty much another foil to Kratos. He's like, well, he even says both of them are destroyers. That's basically all they do. That's who they are. But has a much more
Yeah.
human element to that. And whereas Kratos kind of became
Rude.
that without having anything to do with Zeus. I mean, he became pretty bad, and then Zeus pushed him over the edge.
I do like the whole Thor thing, considering it kind of connect the whole thing about them being destroyers is kind of connecting back to them. It's just like you're always gonna be a monster. In
Yeah,
a sense.
which I think Kratos proves that wrong. And then you have Odin, who is so obsessed with knowledge and fate, especially fate, that he will do literally anything. He will
Yeah.
fucking trick, betray,
Yeah.
and kill anyone, including his own family, if it means he can get the answers that he wants. He feels so restrained by fate that he thinks he literally does not have any choice in anything, because he has to break free of fate. He is a man cucked by causality.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
He's so
In
dedicated
this
to the
case of
goal that he
Someone who's
loses
just so
himself to it.
obsessed with fate, it defines him.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, you know, he's important to have in contrast to Zeus specifically, because they're both godheads. They're the leaders of their respective pantheons, and they're basically the main villains for each of their sagas. Zeus is fairly basic. He's this giant, muscular, brooding man who looms over Kratos and is like, Kratos, I'm going to beat you into a red paste. And then you have Odin, whose method of villainy instead is to be very
Mentally
charismatic. He's very charismatic, very convincing, and very conniving. He's basically the opposite of Zeus. And then he has a bunch of cool magic bullshit. So
I forgot what the concept
I
is
love-
called, but isn't it like in Greek that it establishes that the more you try to change your fate, the more you're ending up following it?
that's
Which is
actually
pretty-
something
which
Kratos
is-
talks about. It's
Yeah,
self-fulfilling
which
prophecy.
is perfect for Odin. Yeah, he self-fulfills himself.
Like Ragnarok happening, Asgard being destroyed, and Odin dying all happens because of Odin attempting to prevent those things. Because he was such a piece of shit that he
that's the
pissed off
whole-
all the wrong people.
Yeah, basically.
It's
There's a mythology.
It's pretty good that way.
Yes, indeed. Kratos' character development, you know, our main man, the PlayStation mascot,
The big albino.
the big albino, artificial albino. Yes, Dylan, I'm also upset that we didn't actually see what was in the rift. I wanted to see that so fucking bad. I wanted to see it so bad.
That is a bit.
Couldn't you have just humored him for like 5 seconds, Atreus?
And the devs say we aren't getting any DLC, so you'll never know.
No, we'll get something in God of War 7.
God.
Wherever we go now.
Yeah.
Yeah, assuming Kratos is still going to be the main character. Which, I mean, like, I feel like we're setting up the adventures of Atreus, but that almost feels like it's going to be spin-off material.
Yeah, it seems better that way.
With
Yeah, most
Kratos, he seems fairly content to just, like, hang out here in Norway.
Maybe he'll start traveling like a messiah.
That's not gonna last long.
I imagine what will happen instead of Kratos going to some god's territory and fucking killing them because of some misunderstanding. Instead, what we may have is some sort of foreign pantheon sees, oh, Asgard's fallen? That looks like free real estate to me. Oh, wait, maybe that's how we have the Celtic guys happen, because we have Mimir mention shit that happens in fucking Scotland various times, because
Yeah.
Mimir is from
Oh,
Scotland.
yeah.
He's Puck.
Yeah.
You even mentioned
We have a fucking
Macbeth.
Kelpie show up.
Yeah.
It's a Celtic creature.
Yeah.
I could see maybe like the Celtic pantheon decides to invade Norway or something, because they're the ones that are closest to where these games take place, relative to what, Egypt and Japan.
Yeah.
Which are quite distant.
Yeah, and as close as
Yeah.
that would be, I can see Atreus going to Egypt, given all the animal things there. But I cannot imagine the Egyptians or the Shinto
Yeah.
gods trying to invade Norway. Or the Aztecs. Man, Kratos fighting the Aztec gods
Yeah.
would go hard, because, like, they're all psychopaths. They're all fucking insane, bloodthirsty
Well,
destroyers.
That would be a
It would be
Good.
great.
That would be perfect since he's now on his
If we
little
don't get
peace
God of War
arc.
Yeah, like if
It's
Sony
fucking
Santa Monica's like,
destroyed.
hey, are you guys upset how we didn't you did not kill Thor or Odin? Well, whoa, 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 whoa. Boy, do we
Game
have
of them.
something for you. Here, we're gonna have Kratos fight these
Aztec
gods who
pantheon.
demanded like 300 blood sacrifices a month.
Yep.
The god who
Ugh.
rained jaguars
That's
down
okay.
upon the world.
Yep.
Just silly,
Aztec-
just stupid.
that'd be so fucking goofy. I love it.
Oh, what was being said?
Kratos, as we know in the previous game, just kind of wants to be left the fuck alone. Like, he feels an immense amount of guilt for everything that happened back in Greece, and doesn't want any of that kind of stuff to be repeated by his hands, or just kind of in general honesty.
Of
Because
course.
it's just bad. He doesn't want that bad shit to happen. But it seems like fate just won't let him stop doing that. All these situations are dragging him into conflicts with the local regional management.
Which he
just
wishes
can't
to
get away from
avoid.
Every path I walk leads to vengeance. And also, he keeps having to kill gods. The only actual god that Kratos himself kills in this game is Heimdall. And Heimdall fucking deserved that shit. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah, he fucking
was
deserved it.
such a little bastard.
I do like how he kills Heimdall as well. He loses himself
Yeah.
and goes back to his old
It's
ways.
funny.
Yeah,
You
it's
actually
great.
you look
I
at
fucking
Kratos'
love
facial
Heimdall.
expressions, and it looks like the Greek Kratos, like those fucking insanely fucking
Yeah.
furrowed eyebrows.
Yeah.
And also, like, choking someone to death is incredibly personal and painful.
And it's all because he says that threat to the boy as well.
You're gonna threaten the boy?
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna blow your fucking
just
arm
even
off.
better. I think what makes Heimdall's death even like better is just because Kratos gave him the option to just fuck off.
And it's just like, oh, fuck's sake.
Nope. Nope.
The way
Did not
fate
take
works in this game is interesting, because the way the Norns talk about it initially, it almost seems like, oh, everything's predestined, you can't do anything about it, and then you actually go back and listen to what they said. And the way they describe fate is the way I like the way fate works. Is they're just like, oh yeah, fate is literally just the result of you being you. Oh, Baldur was prophesized to die a needless death, so Freya did everything in her power to try and protect him. And it's like, well, that ended up happening anyway because you became overprotective and needed to control him. And also because Kratos kills gods.
Their way of fate is just, it is what it is.
It is what it is. The reason they were able to predict everything that everyone in there was going to say was just because they know who they are. That's what they're going to say. Thus, prophecy is averted because they change. Odin's prophecy, his fated death at Ragnarok, could not be averted because Odin could not change who he was. He did not seem to realize that the way to avert your fate is to change yourself. Your fate is what it is because of who you are and what you do.
Quite literally, how to avert fate is basically just
Go a character arc.
If you are trying to avert fate, but you are not trying to change yourself, which is the reason that fate is coming about, well then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Odin basically suffers from trying to change everything externally instead of internally.
Much like Zeus, he succumbs to self-fulfilling prophecy. Actually, that is literally what happened in the Greek saga. It was prophesied that a marked warrior would bring about the downfall of Olympus. They go and kidnap Deimos because he's got that mark on him. And then Kratos ends up getting a tattoo in Deimos' honor. Or the Oracle of Delphi saw that the god of war was going to bring about the downfall of Olympus. So they basically helped Kratos to stop Ares. But then Kratos became the new god of war and ended up bringing about the downfall of Olympus.
And does it anyway.
Yeah. So stop trying to change the outcomes of your actions without changing yourself. It's a bad idea. But that's the reason Kratos ends up not dying. It's because Kratos realizes, yeah, we should be better.
I do like how Kratos' character has taken on more of a concerned, protective parent throughout this game.
He has gone from being a destroyer to a guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that's what he is being worshipped as in that last panel there, is some kind of guardian deity. Which is something that he never imagined being possible. People worshipping him as a god for good reasons. People liking him. People not being afraid of him and hating him.
basically.
Yeah. And a lot of this comes out as a result of, well, the stuff going on with Atreus. They have some great character interactions, especially the one in Helheim. That's wonderful. And also the one once Ragnarok had started. And that's because of Faye, who we actually see in this game. She looks really generic, which is good. She looks like a normal person.
Yeah.
That was why Kratos didn't expect anything, because he was just like, I thought your mom was just some normal human.
Yep.
It's so good that she actually gets to be a character.
Yeah.
And then the side quests, like, explore that even more.
Yeah, the Vanaheim ones, mostly. By the way, we got 12 people in here, only 8 likes. If you guys are in here and you haven't already, hit that like button. We gotta pump those numbers up. Let's get to double-digit likes. The fact that all of these things are said in the past, I assume Kratos hasn't necessarily forgotten them, but they're not really at the forefront of his mind until these dreams happen. Also, some of the shit that happens kind of suggests that maybe Faye is communicating with him through the light of Alfheim or something. I think that actually is kind of implied a little bit.
Especially with how long he was in it in the last game.
Yeah. A lot of things are recontextualized. Well, not necessarily a lot of things, but quite a few things. Especially, we must be better. So, when Kratos kills Baldur at the end of the last game, he says, the cycle ends here. We must be better than this. Which is a callback to when Zeus kills him at the start of God of War 2, and he says the cycle ends here. Except, in this case, he's referring to the ruling fathers of Olympus being killed and overthrown by their sons. Happened with Ouranos being overthrown by Kronos, Zeus overthrowing Kronos, and then him being like, I'm not gonna fucking let Kratos do that, even though, like, you have other sons, Zeus, so...
Way too many.
You're being way too biased.
have-
What about Heracles? You just have him hanging out there. I mean, I suppose in this case he was
Yeah,
just like,
what about
yes, but
37.
I didn't make any of those ones the fucking god of war.
I mean,
None of those guys have killed a god.
yeah, kind of.
So... But in this case, now, with the context of this game, the whole "we must be better" comes from Faye, who's basically encouraging Kratos that, yeah, you did bad things in the past, but we are not our failures. We are not who we were. We must be better. So he clearly remembered it back then.
Especially good with how Faye says it, because she's already gone through her, like, Kratos arc. She's been bloodthirsty before. She fought Thor before and stuff.
Yeah. So, you know, she's already attained the wisdom, and also, you know, has awareness of the fucking future, because she's a giant. Someone send fine pictures of Cuban
Yep.
food. He doesn't know what Cuban food is. Like, he's never seen
I've never
it.
tried.
Of course, because he's in fucking Germany. There are probably, like, 2 Cubans in the entirety of Germany. If that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, the last flashback, which is the best one, where she, you know, tells Kratos, you should open your heart to the world, don't just be attached to me, and when you see all the great things in the world, and connect with them, you will want to keep living in it. Because there's a lot of illusion, there's a lot of foreshadowing to Kratos dying, including the Norns straight up saying, yeah, you're going to die. You're going to kill Heimdall and cause Ragnarok, and then someone's gonna kill you. I'm pretty sure they said, like, Thor kills him or something. Actually, I don't remember if that was ever directly stated.
Yeah, probably.
Didn't he kill Thor in the... Or didn't Thor kill him in one of the murals? I can't quite recall. I feel like the general implication was that he'd
Yeah, I
be
think
killed by Thor.
It was.
The implication was, either way,
Yeah,
he
I
would
think
have
it-
died, but in the end, he goes through more of a spiritual death. He dies as the god of war, and he comes out as a better person.
I suppose. Well, you know, he changes as a person. He decides to be better. And also, he technically already got killed by Thor, so I guess that prerequisite was completed.
Yeah, he did.
Canonical death! Canonically killed by
Sadly-
Thor and then brought back to life.
Sadly, no escaping from hell.
No escaping from hell this time. He didn't give him the chance to fucking sift down there.
Shame.
Actually,
I
now
know.
that Kratos is an actual fully fledged god, I don't think he would necessarily go to the afterlife. Now that I think about it, because it doesn't seem like the other gods do. Because like Odin said, there's no Valhalla for me. I don't know what happens if I die. And basically all the times that Kratos has died, he was immortal or in a mortal state. Like he was mortal and already in the underworld in Chains of Olympus. He was mortal in God of War 1. He had his godly powers taken in God of War 2. And in God of War 3, he actually technically didn't die. He, like, just literally fell down into the river Styx. He just
Just
fucking
got thrown
fell
in
all the
there.
way down there.
Yeah, he accidentally fell into hell.
Yeah, he
Yeet.
fell into the afterlife.
Which is funny. That's just funny.
Whoops.
But
fell
now
into
that
hell.
I don't know, I guess he has all of his godly power back. He is a god, full and full. Now now that that's the case, I don't know if there's an afterlife waiting for him.
This is it.
I mean,
don't know
maybe
either.
when gods die, they all go to that higher plane, or maybe it's just an enlightened thing, like with Athena, because she specifically said, "Oh, because I sacrificed myself for Zeus, I ascended to a higher plane." Oh my God, is Buddha going to be the final villain of the entire franchise?
Oh my god.
Oh fuck!
The supreme deity.
We just. Sorry, your God of War has turned into fucking Ashura's Wrath.
Oh wait, no.
Look,
I feel like
I wouldn't be
there's
against that.
there's a comparison to be made here with the whole Jesus or Kratos should go fuck with Christianity after this.
Yeah.
Jesus forgiving him of all his sins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let peace into your heart.
That'd be funny.
Kratos would become a born again Christian.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I imagine some people will be unsatisfied with the way that like Thor dies and Odin dies. Probably a little less with Odin. But I think they all
Odin's the-
work narratively.
Odin's is good, Thor's is abrupt, but I feel that's also good because it's a way of preventing him of his character growth fully happening.
Yeah, which is what Odin wanted.
He changes
Yeah.
just a bit too late.
Yeah. The Aztec afterlife sucks for everyone? Why is that, Medell? Dylan
Curious.
says for Aztec lore, how they're all scumbags, the gods once lopped off a poor man's head because he bragged he was good at football and forced his brother to play football with his head. Oh, is there an actual afterlife
Yeah,
for the
sounds
Aztec
accurate.
gods? Christ.
Probably.
Yeah, I do know that the Gravedigger is Zeus. I mean, he calls Kratos his son in God of War 1, and then when you get to play him in the arena mode in Ghost of Sparta, he turns into Zeus. And, you know, it's classic Zeus shit, shape-shifting into someone else. Oh yeah, speaking of
Oh, do we-
shape-shifting, that tier plot twist was really good.
And the hints to it are very
Yeah.
nice.
The hints. I've been doing a bit of my second playthrough, and it is interesting to pick up on some of
Yeah.
those.
I feel. I don't know what's like the very first, what's your first hint, but I know when I was rewatching something, I was like, yeah, I feel like him calling Freya Frigg should have hinted. a
Frigg
lot
was
of
the
people.
biggest
Yeah,
giveaway
Frigg was the one.
because it was her pet name.
Yeah. Though I wonder how many of the Aesir would have called her that anyway. Then you have
Yeah.
so the ones I've noticed. First things first, this was something someone on YouTube pointed out. Fake Tyr's name is spelt incorrectly. It doesn't have the little symbol above the Y.
Oh fuck, you're right.
Also,
Yes.
when Atreus offers him a spear, he was like, "Oh, do you want a spear? Like you have a spear?" And he was like, "You mean a walking stick?" Odin's Gungnir is used as a walking stick most of the time, or like a magical
Oh
scepter.
god, that's fucking good.
There's
Um,
also the impatience he has with the characters most of the time.
And I would bet you fucking money. Anytime that Odin is doing stuff, like we see Odin doing stuff, and then go back to Sindri's house, Tyr is not out and about. He is in the fucking broom closet.
Yeah, he is.
Or like
Yeah,
when an
exactly.
Atreus
Sure,
segment
person.
with Odin ends, Tyr comes out of the broom closet.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that's another thing with the broom closet I just thought about. Tyr's cell was not really that small. Like, it wasn't exactly spacious, but, you know, it was probably like, I don't know, the size of my bedroom or something. He's a big guy, so it'd be a little bit more cramped for him. Him asking for a broom closet, it initially comes off as like, oh yeah, he's only used to being in like a confined space, but like, a broom closet has no fucking room in it. Like, he would have room to stand up, and that's about it. Also, give me food that doesn't expire. And yes, as Dylan points out, when you guys make the plan for getting Tyr out of Svartalfheim, fucking Hugin is watching us. Like when you step away and you start leaving the area, there's a raven on a tree that then flies off. So Odin was like, "Oh, that's what they're doing. Interesting, interesting. Cool. I can work with that."
Even in game, they do well, not in game, but if you look at like the way the scenes are coded, allies are like blue, but the moment he stabs Rock, his like signal changes to red, like in the code.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't have the color subtitles turned on. Speaking of, the game has a lot of accessibility options. One of them, though, you can't seem to turn off, and that's characters giving vocal hints, verbal hints. I never really noticed this much. There were like a few instances during the playthrough where there was a puzzle, and I took a bit of time figuring it out, and then like the fucking nanosecond after I figure it out and before I can say anything, Atreus is like, "Oh, why don't you go up there and throw your axe at it?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! I know!" But there are a lot of people complaining about this. And I noticed it much more in the stream from yesterday when I was fighting Hrolf and Gana, when I get hit with a lot of fucking status effects, and Mimir won't shut the fuck up about how I'm on fire. I know!
Gaming.
Because apparently their target audience for accessibility features is fucking Darkside Phil, who even with all of these built-in accessibility features is apparently fucking awful at the game and having a terrible time, because the man just can't play video games.
Beautiful.
Now, hopefully, because there is a bit of vocal complaining about it, if Santa Monica Studio listens, which I feel like they would, because I'm pretty sure people were asking for a New Game Plus mode in the previous game, and it was added, like, I don't know, a year later or something. I don't remember how long it took for them to add it. That's probably going to be the case with this, where at some point we're going to get a big patch that'll add a New Game Plus. You'll be able to skip cutscenes. Hopefully you can turn off all those fucking hints.
Shut the fuck up mode.
There have been like a few clips going around. Actually, it's the one of some streamer fighting Needhog, and they just keep getting backseating comments from various characters, and the dude's like getting really annoyed. But like, as some people pointed out, it's like, dude, you're just being like really shit. Like, you just can't stop fucking up. You can't stop fucking up, so the game won't stop telling you what to do.
Yeah, it's definitely some people farming for this kind of stuff.
I see. It's actually an ingenious piece of gameplay mechanics on Santa Monica's part. They annoy you into getting good at the game.
They force you to do things quicker.
It's a skill check, essentially. Are you good at the video game?
Oh yeah, apparently, in the Svartalfheim segment, there's a dwarf on the bridge that spits at you when you come into Nidavellir, I assume. And that is the same model as the dead dwarf in the Asgardian prison in Niflheim.
Ah, fun. I think my friend was pointing that out to me the other day.
We talk about the boy now.
The boy!
The boy.
He undergoes a character arc.
He only gets called boy once.
He gets called boy once, and that's when he's being a little shit. That's when he got hit with that boy, I was like, oh, he's gonna get his ass beat.
Yeah, that was a very angry boy.
When I heard that boy, I was my fucking fight or flight response activated. I was like, oh no.
He turned back into last game Kratos.
That's an angry dad boy. And that's something you never want to hear.
Yeah, I
that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So Atreus, he goes on his journey of self-discovery, and also realizes that he's, at one point he realizes he's kind of arrogant and reckless, and that he should stop doing that. And then,
Probably.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like way more of the character development is on Kratos' part, really. You can talk. Do you want to talk more about Boy? I feel like most of
see.
Boy's character development was him actively making mistakes and realizing that he made mistakes, and then
I
trying
feel
to
like
make things right.
Yeah.
For Boy in this game, it's about him learning how things aren't as black and white as they used to be.
Yeah,
Like,
that's definitely
when
the
he-
case. That's the point of the
Yeah.
Asgard stuff.
Like when he tries to help the Dark Elves, then they still go against him and attack him in the way. It's just like, oh, yeah, it's not as simple as it is.
Right.
And everything he's been told is a lot more complicated.
Right. There are no real good guys and bad guys. Everyone has their own motivations and reasons for doing things. Everyone has their own justifications. Everyone has their own ends that they're trying to reach. And which ones should you side with? Your own. Your
Yeah, pretty much.
interests should be whatever is in your best interests. What side are we on in this Alpine conflict? Our side. Whoever
We
gets
just
in
get
our
by.
way is
Yeah,
not on
the-
our side.
None.
It is literally not
Effectively,
our
yes.
problem.
Let's see. You could talk about his relationship with Thor throughout the game. That was pretty interesting.
Oh, that was pretty interesting actually. Him making the connections about his similarities to Thor, trying to
Yeah,
convince
'cause in a
Thor to
way,
be a better person. Because Thor's like his
they are-
dad.
Mm-hmm. And in a way, they are both very similar as half giants.
They are half giant, half god, with dads that have very overbearing expectations of them. The difference being that Kratos wants to protect Atreus, and Odin has just been using Thor his entire life.
And Thor has destroyed everything
Yep.
to do with the giants, whereas Atreus wants to try and preserve and bring them back.
Mm-hmm.
And as to Odin and Atreus, probably the most important thing to do with Atreus' character beside Kratos is that Odin puts himself up to look like a more appealing parental figure when really he's got the worst intentions, whereas Kratos may seem a bit more rough around the edges, but he's got the good intentions.
Oh man, when Odin stopped
Yeah.
by to talk to Kratos in Svartalfheim, and he was like, you know, that boy of ours, and I was like, ours? Ours?
Sleazy Uncle Odin.
Who the fuck are you?
Damn.
What a great villain. What a fucking sleazebag. I love sleazebag villains. They're wonderful. Someone
they're
said Richard
great.
Schiff should
They're
be in
fucking great.
more video games. He should play more villains. He does a good job.
Mm.
Also, Atreus's
He
whole
should.
thing
He does a very good job.
is trying to find meaning, like trying to find out what his purpose is. And when he finally finds some kind of greater purpose through the mask, he's like, nah, this
Confused
isn't my
about it.
purpose. And that's when Odin gets so pissed, he's like, what, you choose to be nothing? You don't want to find some greater purpose? You don't want to find out why you're here? You just choose to be nothing?
Another
Obviously,
thing
he wouldn't
is
choose
he finds out he's also got purpose from the giant's prophecies,
Yeah.
but he doesn't want to fully accept it because he's worried that it will end up biting him in the ass and getting Kratos killed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sindri, he gets put through the fucking ringer in this game. That he does, villain.
Sindri becomes
Oh,
goated.
Sindri.
Unironically, Sindri became one of my favorite characters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the previous
It's
game,
beautiful when you have
oh
the clean. Yeah, you have the.
no, you go on.
You go. Sorry.
Okay, well,
See, I just think it's great you have Sindri who. Oh yeah, you go. Sorry.
What the fuck was this interaction? Chilled is like,
Uh,
nah, you go, and Neo's like, nah,
I
you
don't
go.
know.
Chilled
Neo,
waits a
speak.
second, starts to talk, and then you just start talking. Did you have
Neo,
like a
speak.
delayed reaction to
I
what he was
fu-
saying?
Yeah, I did. Basically, I was just gonna see. I think the whole Sindri thing is great because you have Sindri who's a clean freak, and then when Brock dies, he just goes fucking batshit. It's great.
Yeah, he just doesn't care anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that generally not really giving a shit about cleanliness or really like any of your routines or whatever is a pretty big sign of depression. Like you just don't care anymore.
Yeah. He also doesn't wear his gloves anymore after Brock dies.
Yeah, you can see Sindri's character degrade throughout the game. At the beginning, he's like there for Atreus. He's his main guy whenever he's in need of help, yet everyone else is against him. And then after like he goes and turns into Bjorn and he hurts Sindri, he's a lot less forgiving, and then eventually after Brock dies, he breaks. He realizes that he's gave everything and he's got nothing in return for it.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good thing. It's not like his character just completely does a 180 and he's fully depressed. No, you see him slowly lose himself. And as to Brock, oh boy.
How the fuck does Tater have like an hour's worth of... How long do you have to put off dishes for to be doing them for an hour?
How do you leave dishes like that?
Either I don't know if he means working a job with dishes, because
No, I think he means just like... No, he said we had a lot of dishes I was putting off. It is after Thanksgiving, but I feel like Thanksgiving is the day that you would do all the dishes, because like you're gonna have a shitload of them.
Yeah.
I also imagine you do that
Yeah.
as like a group in the end.
Yeah.
For us, it was kind of like a fucking conveyor belt.
I
I had to like
went to my cousin's house.
rinse all of the shit off the plates and then put them in the sink, and then I don't know, someone else put them in the dishwasher.
I love not having Thanksgiving.
That sucks for you. It's a great holiday. It's
I'm
literally
not
just an
bothered.
excuse to get together with your family and like eat a bunch of shit.
Yeah. My family's fine. I suppose.
Mine's kind of a mess, so it's alright. I had fun playing as Sin on Guilty Gear instead.
Such sad people. Yeah, Tater really
In
do
some
be
cases.
individually licking each plate clean.
Oh, he's trying to get the last pieces. He's
My
like,
God.
oh, drip of gravy. Mmm.
Ugh. We're
Oh,
just
which
gonna be
wasn't
eating
you.
fucking Thanksgiving leftovers for the next several days.
Yeah.
I like that this game gave
That
us
is-
a reason to why Brock is blue now.
Well, originally it was some kind of fucking
Yeah,
metal
I'm-
poisoning. Now it's just actually, oh, he's like 1/4 dead. He was
Yeah, he
dead for a
said-
bit.
Yeah, he says,
Well,
oh, it's
'cause, like,
because
my
I
brother's-
touched
why
too
the
much raw silver. But no,
Does raw silver make your skin blue?
Which
I'm
I
sure in
don't know.
mythology it did.
Hmm.
probably there's
Oh, Tater is
mythology to
typing.
be wacky like that. Tater, tell us. But you know,
Bernice is in the middle of watching BBC Sherlock for some
Yeah.
reason.
I was just about to fucking mention that. I love him hate watching something. It's a
Why would you
glorious
hate watch
experience.
something? Why would you want to support the ratings of something that's
I,
bad?
I think it might be
don't
that he's
know.
He is
reminding
not
himself to
licking.
why it's so bad.
I don't. If
Yeah,
I
I
watch
respect
something
it.
and I'm like, wow, this fucking sucks. I don't need to watch it again to remember why it's bad.
It depends, like, if
I
it's
think
so
Bernie-
bad you start to enjoy how bad it is.
I haven't watched the fucking Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker since seeing it in theaters, outside of when my aunt was visiting, watching
Same.
it in the living room and having to
Same.
like stand for 20 minutes and watch various parts of it. Do you know why? Because I fucking
Yeah.
watched it and I was like, man, that movie fucking sucked. And then I
Yeah.
didn't need to see it ever again.
You want to know what's mentioning Res? You want to know something fucking terrible? The last movie I watched before COVID happened was that. That was literally my last theater experience for like a year. That was terrible.
My last theater experience was watching the Uncharted movie.
Why
Oh,
would you
fuck
watch
you.
that?
Oh,
even I
some
have to.
friends wanted to go see it, and I was just like, fine, I'll
I
come
Were they
was gonna
along.
go see that
Uncharted
in theaters,
fans, or
because
were they just like, oh, it's a Tom Holland movie?
It's a bit of both.
Hmm. Why would they pick him and not like fucking Nathan Fillion or
Anyone
something?
else?
it still fucking baffles me why they chose him.
We're gonna have this this 30-year-old British guy that looks like he's 15,
I
and
don't
he
fucking get it.
talks like
This
someone's
only casting also
e-boyfriend.
kinda confuses me.
Pretty much. It's not that great.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I didn't want.
Dylan says, but
Fucking-
boy do I love Thanksgiving. Being part of an actual ancient clan. 734 member clan sure is fun when you know none of them. When you're forced to
that-
because they all come over uninvited.
Uh.
Everyone in my hometown calls our Thanksgiving fucking the tent city. I hate Thanksgiving. It sucks for me. Where the fuck is this clan of yours from?
Dylan, what?
I
sure
demand
hope
an
it's not a
explanation.
certain clan.
Dylan, what?
What clan is it? We need to know what is it. What is the
I'm
history?
curious now.
I was like, how do you have? Why do they come over to your house uninvited? Why don't you just tell them to go to someone else's house?
I'll do the quirky thing and ask them to fucking leave.
No, they
Imagine
just
having like
barge in through the door and
734 people outside of your house, and you just tell them to leave. Based in China and in Russia. What the fuck?
Mr. Worldwide.
Well, I guess that explains how it's
Dylan.
ancient.
Dylan, what the hell?
So
Dylan got
you
some
have all these
history.
people coming over from China and Russia. I mean, I assume they emigrated here. Several members and Ireland and Scotland. Also, I fucking do. Well, you know, you can always just not let them in, right? Or do they actually set up tents outside your house, and that's why it's called Tent City? Oh. You know, now that I think about it, 734 people would not fit inside your house, regardless of how big it is, unless you live in a fucking mansion.
No, they just put extensions into the house just for this moment.
Oh, I remember, there's a house
What the hell? Man?
up in Cape Cod where my uncle lives that we've always joked about. It's a big house. It looks like it's probably worth like fucking $700,000 these days or something. And it's basically two houses connected to each other by a hallway, like a big second-story hallway that connects these two houses. And I forget who made the joke. I think it may have been my uncle, where this seems like a place where someone lives with their parents or whatever. Not like they live in their parents' house. It's more like their parents live in their house. And it's like, oh yeah, I want to live with you, but I don't want to live with you.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Talk about
Yeah.
living right near your parent.
I had a revelation yesterday that like in a month and a half I'm just gonna be basically living, well, not by myself, but like not with any of my family. 'Cause college.
Could be a good experience.
Yeah, I'll probably also be depressed for a bit. We'll find out. We'll see how I handle that. That'll be an interesting case study.
Gonna have to record it down and document it.
Well, I'll do like a stream, check it in 1 week. Hey guys, I fucking hate my life.
Yeah. Well, this turned into.
1 month
Yeah.
into college, Misc is not doing
You'll
good.
get the Neo experience of hating your life for a certain amount of time.
1 month, I've converted to Buddhism. I seek to escape my worldly desires.
He's got rid of everything in his room. He's literally living bare bones.
Yeah. fucking white room.
Oh yeah,
No
Dylan, you
carpet.
did mention that you live in a swamp. Wait, you have a town that's inside of a swamp? Sounds like a bad idea.
Sounds like.
Dylan, what the fuck? What the fuck? Just in general.
Let's see. The gameplay is really good. I forget, that's part of the video game, the gameplay. It's basically...
I like the new spear. It's
Dropnir is great. Wherever Kratos goes next, you better keep that fucking axe, and you keep that fucking spear.
I
That
don't
spear,
imagine
I
he's
do
gonna
like-
lose Dropnir.
I do like. As kind of a mythology thing. I like that we technically get a weapon of Odin, but not exactly, because.
Oh yeah,
Gungnir
because
is his ring.
yeah, it was his ring made
we
by
don't,
the
we don't get
dwarves.
Gungnir, but we get
We get Dropnir, which in this game seems to shit on Gungnir. Even though in
It's so-
Norse mythology, Gungnir is a spear that always hits its target no matter what.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty much.
it's a fucking hacked as shit spear. It's broken.
Instead, we got Infinite Spearworks.
Infinite Spearworks, which,
Yeah,
I think is way fucking better.
yeah, essentially.
Not to
It is,
mention,
it's
you
cooler.
can keep it as a ring.
It's a
Yeah, but-
ring. Yeah, so naturally, in classic God of War fashion, we took a thing that exists in mythology and we turned it into a different thing. Like, a fucking, I don't know, the Golden
Playing an all-time
Fleece.
spear.
For
Yeah.
some reason, the Golden Fleece in God of War is like a pauldron. It's armor, as opposed to a fleece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
had to be a bit more stylized.
Well, it is stylish as shit. Why do you think that, like, end of God of War 2 Kratos is his best design?
Yeah,
Well,
besides...
yeah, pretty much.
Let's see, besides Dropnir, we also can use Mimir as a weapon now.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to do that, but you weaponize Mimir's eyeballs.
It's-
Beautiful.
Oh yeah,
and he
so...
sounds like he's in pain the entire time.
Yeah. So they added a few new things to the combat. There are several runic attacks that have just been turned into normal moves. What am I thinking of? They added a lot more. They added like jumping attacks, running attacks. Whenever
Running
you do like a
attacks.
swing between platforms, or you jump down off of an elevated platform, you do like a slam attack, which makes the combat flow a lot better. They've added in like a whole bunch of extra shit. Like you have amulets. Wait, were amulets
new
already a
Spartan
thing in the
Rage.
previous game?
Yes, there's
Oh.
new Spartan
I
Rages.
forgot about them. Yes, we have new Spartan Rage variants, which are great. I don't use Valor at all. I pretty much just exclusively use Wrath ever since getting it, because I love my big damage bursts.
Wrath is cool. Original Rage is still awesome just because of the way you punch it.
Mhm. Still really good.
Valor is irrelevant.
Valor is irrelevant unless you like it, I guess. I know Tokyo uses Valor. Tokyo likes Valor a lot. Apparently that was what he used for beating Gna.
It does seem like a solid option.
What else? What else did they add? They added Dropnir. Yeah, it's basically the extent
New
of the
shields.
Alright, we have new shield variations, which means you can do different stuff with your shields. I don't know why you'd do anything other than a shield that just lets you parry shit.
Because you're bad at the game.
Yeah. Like, the only one that seems remotely useful is the one that basically lets you do shield bash from range. Because, boy, some of those fucking shield bash attacks are lethal.
Yeah, once you get Phalanx fixed up again, there's like no reason to use anything else.
Yeah, pretty much. Where do you get that one?
It's your OG shield from the
Oh,
first
yeah,
game.
yeah, that one. I didn't remember the name of it, but, like, yeah, the original shield. You don't fucking need anything else. Just learn to
It
parry.
was still unbelievable when 4 broke that.
Well, that whole fight in general was kind of unbelievable, which
Yeah.
we'll get into in a little bit.
He-
The
Oh, the fights.
the attack chaining goes absolutely insano mode in this game. After a certain point, basically when I was doing berserker hunting, I reached a point where effectively what I was doing, the fight would start. I would use my runic attacks on like literally fucking everything, and then do realm shift, and then probably do the L1 triangle shit to give me like a 300% damage increase or whatever. The realm shift grips that you get from the berserkers, like the grips of the 9 realms and stuff, are so
Yeah.
good. I can't imagine using any other ones. The only
I mean-
thing that is worth switching out the artifact or the relic or whatever that you get from Heimdall is the one you get from Hrolf, because it just gives you fucking summon swords.
Those swords basically saved your ass at the end with that Gnar fight.
Oh yeah, 100%. Also stomping on
Yep,
that health stone.
basically.
That health stone, the stagger from it, that too.
Yeah.
But like
Oh, that was glorious.
yeah, the damage stacking you can do in this game is stupid. I love it.
Combo potential is a lot better.
Oh yeah, a lot of combo potential. The open world is way bigger because you can go to all 9 realms now, though you only go to Asgard for story stuff. Though that makes sense. The side quests are a lot more fleshed out. They feel a lot more significant. Because like really, honestly, in the previous game, most of them really just felt like doing chores and shit. Whereas in this game, a lot of them are really good for getting a deeper understanding of a lot of the characters. Especially the Mimir and Freya quest lines are really good. Like fucking half of Vanaheim is just through one quest line. Actually, no, it's more like 2/3 of Vanaheim is
Yeah.
through the fucking Birgir quest line and everything that unlocks. It's ridiculous. Most of Alfheim is totally optional.
The travel stories are a lot more unique now. It's not just sharing the history of the Norse pantheon.
Right? Yeah, you get a lot more
Much,
stuff from
island.
Kratos now. Since you have different companions,
Yeah.
you get stuff from different people. Now we have actual dedicated post-game content, stuff that you cannot get until you finish the main story. Notably, you can't do all the berserkers until you finish the story, and you can't do Gna until you finish the story.
You can't find real tier without doing the real story. Yeah.
Right? Whole bunch of stuff. And that's really cool, because that means, there's still a reason to play after the story's over, and it makes it feel more like an actual world, because, just because the story's over doesn't mean everything's over. There's still shit
Yeah, it
to
feels like you're picking up the pieces.
You guys remember the Scouring of the Shire? I bet you don't if you only watched the movies. I also only watched the Lord of the Rings movies, but I've heard of the Scouring of the Shire, in which, the events of Lord of the Rings happens, and then Frodo goes home to the Shire, and the place got fucking conquered by Saruman's forces. And then,
Yeah,
some other people had to tell him to fuck off, pretty much. It's like a 4th act surprise or whatever. It's, it's epilogue shit. And
That
that's
is
what we
pretty
have
cool.
actual content for in this game. The hardest boss in the game is post-game content. Though I feel like that's pretty standard stuff.
Yeah.
And then, the true ending is post-game. No funny dream foreshadowing this time. No funny dream stinger. It's just a funeral.
No giant visions like from before. Instead,
Right,
we
yeah.
get depression.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense, because maybe they haven't really decided on what Kratos is going to do next. Or who's going to be the main character next.
Yeah.
I mean, I would shit
Yeah.
if it's Atreus instead, because, I mean,
Again,
doing whole Atreus segments where you just play him almost feels like prep work, like fucking test work for doing a game where you play Atreus.
Yeah,
but that
for
feels
sure.
like a spin-off.
I will say, I
I will
don't
say-
like how Boy only fought with the bow. I wish you could have used like Ingrid as its own weapon.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess,
well, come on.
but the bow is versatile.
This is true.
Yeah, the book is very versatile.
Was there anything else I wanted to talk about in regards to not specifically the bosses?
You want to talk about Freya's character development?
Freya's character development is good. She basically goes over a compacted version of Kratos' character development, without the bad
Yes.
ending.
Without the bad. Yep, basically.
And a lot more forgiveness with stuff like Freya.
Yeah. A lot of family interactions in this game. A lot of
I didn't
people with
even-
family issues.
I will say.
Seems like
The game
common
definitely
thing.
showed my lack of Norse mythology knowledge, because I didn't even fucking know Freya had a brother. And I'm like, oh, she does.
Yeah,
that's
I
I
found
didn't
that
know
out prior to the game's release when we got that one trailer, because a bunch of people were like, "Oh, that
did
must be
you?
Freyr," and I'm like, "Wow, who the fuck is that?"
I found it funny when I find it so funny when you're like during the stream, and I'm like, oh yeah, Freya's the god of fertility.
You can tell he's kind of a dude, bro. He's like a surfer dude.
He's pretty laid
do
back.
like
He's
him,
not much
though.
of a general.
I do like him. Yeah, he's a very cool guy.
His death felt kind of unnecessary, but yeah.
A little bit, but I suppose
I didn't
it's
even know he
possible that
died.
if he didn't do his little Ingrid shield thing, everyone just would have died in the first plunge.
I guess
Yeah.
there's also some character
Also, doesn't he
reasons
die
to it.
during Ragnarok in mythology?
Probably.
Feels like a lot of the god deaths
Uh,
in Ragnarok just kind of happen in mythology.
I mean, with the way Freya said before, how
Yeah.
Freya isn't really the kind of guy to step up to the, like the whole girl when things start to happen. I think it's okay that he dies, but it did feel just out of nowhere.
A little bit. Oh yeah, I like Angrboda. I think she's
Okay,
neat.
yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty
Oh,
cool.
yeah, okay, I did. Freya does die in actual mythology, but it's to Surtur.
Oh wait, so well that makes sense. That lines up.
Yep, that's solid.
That
I like the way Odin's soul dies in this game.
Yeah, he gets fucking Sindri gets the killing blow.
yeah, he deserved that.
Oh yeah, everyone else is like, I don't need revenge. Isn't there someone you forgot to
Fuck
ask?
that.
Then he
At
just
the very end, I do like
disappears.
the whole. I also do like the whole, no more dwarves are dying for this.
Yeah.
I do like that.
He punished Sindri. He's had enough.
What is it? I like how from the small chats you have with Freya that when Mimir asks her, so what did the giant who built the wall for Asgard told you? And it's like, oh, he left this one small weakness in the entire wall, and then when Sindri goes up to it, he exploits that.
So, what I'm gonna do now, because I've been talking for like an hour and a half, is I'm gonna go get a drink. I'm gonna have a snack,
Wah, 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 wah.
and then when I get back, we're gonna talk about some of the bosses. So, you two fucking entertain the audience with something. I don't know. Talk about some
I will
bullshit,
try.
and I'll be back.
A for effort, we'll try our
Listen.
best.
Listen, if the next God of War game does take place in Japan and we do play as Kratos, I'm just saying Kratos versus Susanoo would go hard.
It would.
Imagine
Oh
Kratos
my-
with a katana.
It would. Oh,
Imagine Kratos in
Yep, we'll go
Shogun
hard.
armor.
that okay. Me and my friend were just shit posting about. Okay, if they do go to Japan, what's some funny things that Kratos could fight? And I'm like, well,
Orochi.
we said yeah, him, but I was also like, I can't really think of any Hindu god, but not Hindu, Shinto. That would particularly be the bad guy or like the villain, because like Susanoo is a little shit, but he's not,
I feel like
Yeah,
they'd
definitely-
have to be the one to provoke. Because
Yeah.
Kratos is kind of on his peace moment.
you could do Izanami because goddess of death and all that.
Yeah, that
Or
would
you could
work.
Yeah.
I would kind of like to see Kratos going back to the remnants of Greece to see what's happened to it.
I wonder, that is a question that I always have in like series that are like, yeah, the Greek pantheon exists, and then I'm like, okay, how does the Roman pantheon work? Because the Roman pantheon is literally just the Greek pantheon, but with different names. And
Yeah,
slight
that is true.
differences.
They
How the fuck does
just-
that work?
Do you think they just like the Roman pantheon later on exists and it's like, oh, you're just the exact same
Yeah, I
guys.
Then again,
Bunch of
I guess if
skinwalkers.
like Greece is destroyed in God of War, then I guess Rome would have never been able to conquer it and find literally rip off its mythology.
That is a good point. There's
I don't know how that works.
There's no way of them being able to copy if it's all gone now, unless they just figure it all
Yeah.
out from the pieces of what's left.
Yeah. I was also when I had the revelation of the whole Mimir is actually from UK. I'm
Scotland.
like, yeah, Scotland, UK.
Yeah.
So,
No,
general
I was
area.
just
And
saying when you mentioned.
And when he mentioned, the Lady of the Lake by her other name, I'm like, I feel like that name sounds familiar, and I'm like, oh, that's the Lady of the Lake. And then I had the
Mhm.
idea of Kratos with Excalibur would go hard.
True, it would.
I don't know.
Another one of Misc stories he tells you is the story of Macbeth.
Oh yeah, he does talk about Macbeth, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
Then again,
talks about how three witches convinced him that he was untouchable and he kills his own king and that.
Oh yeah, that is Macbeth. I also don't know because of how the timeline works. I don't know, and because no one fucking decides, no one fucking knows when Arthurian myth actually takes place when Arthur rules. Because I don't know if Mimir would have lived in the same time as like Arthur was doing his shit with the Round Table and Merlin and all that.
Yeah. It's
how that
the God of War timeline is kind of open like that. It just lets it all exist at once.
Yeah, which kind of works.
It's a lot better that way in a way because it allows the open-endedness of the characters to just go
Yeah.
to the next place.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
But yeah.
which gods weren't killed back in the Greek games.
He didn't kill Kratos didn't kill Aphrodite, right? She's still alive.
No, he just banged her.
Yeah. Who else? All of like the 12 Olympians, I'm pretty sure. But did he ever kill Dionysus?
No, Dionysus never appears. He doesn't kill
Yeah,
the party,
so-
bro.
Okay. Okay. So he kills the big three.
Yes.
The boys: Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. Trying to think of the other Olympians.
He kills Helios, he kills Hera.
Yeah. Those Hera, Poseidon. I don't think he killed. Does he kill Demeter?
No, he doesn't kill Apollo either.
Apollo's still alive. Artemis kills Ares. I don't know about Artemis.
I don't believe Artemis appears. It's just kind
He
of
kills
like the
her.
main one. Yeah.
Yeah, Herman. I don't think Hephaestus ever appears.
Yes, he does.
No, he
He
does.
makes.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
the forge guy, and then you end up killing his ass.
Yeah. So what? He only killed like what 2/3 of the 12 Olympians.
He's just like, these guys, they're not really important.
Yeah, Dionysus.
What's Dionysus gonna do? He's probably just drunk off his head the entire time.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that Dionysus is also like a god of madness,
And
That's just
chaos
always
and
been
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dionysus
Resurrection
is
of-
very interesting.
Persephone as well in mythology, because after watching the overly sarcastic productions video on Persephone, my perception of her as a goddess has forever changed.
Yeah,
Because of-
a lot more twisted,
video.
I'm guessing.
yeah, fucking. So yeah, Egypt would be fun because Egypt
I
is
believe-
it has such a wacky lore, and especially with death.
What's it called? I believe in one of the comics when Kratos is first going to the Norse pantheon, he actually stumbles across some of the Egyptians.
Oh, that's fun. It depends when they would when they place, if they do Egypt, when they would place it, because there's obviously, I kind of want Egypt because, you know, we have Apophis, who is basically an apocalypse serpent. That'd be fun. And Set, of course, who is literally just not many mythologies have like a guy who's like, he's the stereotypical evil motherfucker.
Oh?
That's
Funny.
Set. Most
Ooh,
least-
who is the
That's
human who
mostly-
joined? Oh, hi Taylor.
Hello.
He's
I tell you,
finally
fine.
here.
Mr.
How were the dishes?
They were pretty
How
tough.
did
They put up a good fight, but I won.
Good. Misc is getting a drink, and he asked us to entertain the crowd.
He's staying hydrated.
Alright.
Yeah, staying hydrated. Well, I just drink on stream. But yeah, I don't know. Egypt would be fun just because how wacko Egyptian mythology is at times, especially with death. It would be
If
interesting to see how they
Kratos
tackle
just
that.
like... If Kratos goes to the Egyptian mythology, I just hope he dies so he can fight Anubis and Osiris.
Well, dude, what's the
Oh,
whole
that'd be good.
Egyptian mythology where like Ra needs to go to hell like every day? Like after every day he goes
Yeah.
down into hell because he's the
Yeah,
sun.
the cycle.
He has to fight
Yeah.
off like a ton of like snakes or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Apophis. That'd be
Yeah.
funny. Kratos didn't get to punch the big Norse serpent, so maybe if they do Egypt, he'll get to punch the big Egyptian serpent.
I mean, he can't really be punching his grandson now, can he?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I do like how they do.
With boy.
I do like that they kind of do, in a sense, do have Atreus have his kids as Loki, because it's Jormungandr and Fenn's soul kind of gets reborn.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
kind of
they-
a cool thing.
They do it in
I'm-
a lot more appealing
Very
way.
surprised that Hell never made an appearance. I was for certain that she was going to make an appearance in this game, especially with them focusing more on like Atreus, with him trying to figure out who the fuck Loki is.
Oh yeah.
One of his kids. I was kind of surprised by that.
Maybe she'll be like, if we do get another setting for the Norse, which we won't because the
Yeah, maybe
saga's
Hel.
ended. She could
Maybe
be
as,
there.
as a spin-off.
Yeah, some
maybe they just
other good ones like Vidar don't ever get appeared, and he's considered one of the stronger Norse
Yeah.
gods.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because not a lot of the Norse, because like if Odin, Thor, Loki, technically Freya, Tyr, Sif, Heimdall. Yeah, not a lot of them appear. Maybe not the main ones, but it's just kind of like, a few more.
Well,
Would have been nice. to
Or
see.
say he gets mentioned a few times, but he never appears.
Of course, you have Mad Niamoti, and of course Baldur.
The Bozo duo.
They're everywhere, but now they are nowhere.
Fucking Mad Niamoti are funny, because it's a Sony game. You always gotta have Nolan North and fucking Troy Baker somewhere.
They all
They got literally axed so fast. They're like
And
they show up to talk to
That's-
Mimir. Then they show up. Kratos splits Magni's head in half. Get the flow
Modi
back.
shows up.
Yeah, Modi.
I mean, Modi
shows-
does kick.
He gets some
To be fair to
dialogue.
Modi, he does kick off probably. At least he kicks off one of the best sections of 2018 with Kratos getting the Blades of Chaos.
Oh yeah.
So we did that, and then he gets fucking murdered by a Atreus. And he gets
Oh.
kind of murdered by Atreus.
He
It's
doesn't
even
get murdered by Atreus. He gets murdered by
He was
asshole
half-
Atreus.
he was half dead as well from full beating him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of being put in Modi's room is an insult.
Yeah. I do find that funny.
It's even worse when you're playing through Ragnarok and your first fight with Thor, he's like, this is for Modi, and I'm like, but you're the reason he nearly died anyway.
Yeah, Kratos
Well,
fucking mentions that.
Are you all behaving?
No.
No.
Yeah.
We've been on a
We're-
racist tirade this entire time.
We're
That's
joking
great.
about
Thank
the
you for
Bozo
getting
duo.
streamed demonetized. Ah, Magni and
Yeah,
Modi.
we-
What a bunch of
How
funny
does he
guys.
know?
We were joking about them.
Because, I mean, I don't
I also just
unmute
find it-
myself the instant I start listening to what's being talked about.
I just find it funny that, you know, it's PlayStation games, so you're always gonna have Troy Baker and Nolan North, and they literally gave them the Bozo duo. That's just funny
Man,
to me.
Troy Baker and Nolan North were in fucking everything like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
They were.
What are they in
You gotta play
now?
a fucking PlayStation.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've noticed them.
I don't know.
Thing.
Because I remember...
Yeah.
Fuck, I remember like when Destiny was getting like all of its big expansions and stuff, and when like Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War were coming out, those guys were in fucking everything.
And
And
say
then
they were.
I don't know,
They're
they've
not.
fallen off the face of the earth.
I know
Kind
one
of
of them.
just
was-
doing less main
I mean,
character.
Nolan North's
roles.
biggest role hasn't had a game in a while, so good, because I'm
Which-
fucking terrified for what Naughty Dog would do to Uncharted nowadays. I'm fucking
Which-
terrified.
Which one was the Joker in Arkham Origins?
I think it was Troy Baker.
I
Yeah, it
think
was Troy
so.
Baker.
Isn't that like
Right.
2013?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well,
that's
Oh,
2013.
lost. Let's see. Behind the voices, let's see what these guys are up to then.
They're probably in like
Yeah.
some.
I was
like-
also the other thing I really miss is I'm very surprised that Hell never made a proper appearance in this
Us.
game. Considering
Well, Hraesvelgr is referenced in post-game stuff because Mimir goes to negotiate with her. And apparently Hell is the job title for whoever is the manager of Helheim.
So the big bird.
Ah,
The
okay.
big bird, yes.
no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So you want to
that
know
makes
something
sense.
funny
Makes
about Troy Baker?
What's funny about Troy Baker?
He actually voices a character in Ragnarok.
Who?
He voices the bitter squirrel, one of Ratatosk's.
Oh, you're right! He
ones.
does voice him.
That's fucking great.
I thought that
That's
was just
great.
what's-his-face voicing all of them.
Rosie D. I forget his actual name. He did a good job as the funny squirrel, I will say. The funny squirrel.
I thought you were
great.
gonna say when he's like, oh, he voices. I thought when you said, oh, well, funny enough, Troy Baker. I thought you were gonna go on like a, who's the Flash in the DCU?
Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller. Yeah, I thought that for a
The
second.
criminal?
I
That's
thought
psychotic.
you were gonna go on. Funny enough, Troy
Psychotic
Baker is
bastard.
on the run. It's like,
Oh, no, Ezra Miller, definitely one of the actors of all time. Good God.
definitely.
He definitely suits the Flash with how much he's running from the law.
Yep, definitely.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one cool thing about what he does throughout the games, or throughout the end of the game. He starts doing Tai Chi poses.
Yeah, he's doing yoga. Isn't that great?
Yeah, of course.
So, boss fights.
Oh my god, the best parts.
Yes.
The overall boss quality in this game is much higher.
No
Um,
trolls.
No, there is one troll boss. There's
They did
one.
not hit the copy
Improvement.
and paste button.
It is the funniest thing in the world
Copy and paste
that the
them.
only troll encounter you have during the main story is when you're in Svartalfheim and the train falls down, it lands on top of a troll, and Kratos just fucking cuts its head off like he's chopping down a tree.
I feel like
That
I
was
still feel
very
like that's the
much a
developers basically saying,
self-aware
yeah,
joke.
No.
They were like, yes,
just
I know, you're
no.
tired. You guys are sick of the troll fights. There was like fucking 17 of them in the last game.
The game is much more self-aware, like how they make a boulder joke invulnerable to all forms of harm, magical or physical.
Oh,
Oh god, that fucking reminded me of Heimdall's fucking joke at the beginning of his fight with Kratos.
let's see, is there a video
Hilarious,
ranking all
by
the
the way.
troll bosses in God of War 2018?
To do that, miss.
Top
You should
one
rank
is,
the trolls.
Number one
Rank the
is
Wait, hold
Hell,
on.
I'm
What's this I see here? Hold on, I have to check this. There are secret troll bosses.
Yep, not surprising.
So I was wrong. There's actually 4, but the secret ones are basically statue elemental ones, so that's cooler.
Ah, so it makes them kind
They're
of unique.
the Grendel ones, except we've got fucking Bjarg,
I'm gonna kill.
Golrob. Oh, there's 2 Golrobs, so I guess that's another title one. And then is there another one? Blotduger. Cool. Well, that's
I
neat.
love troll names.
Cool.
That's actually hilarious to me. Yeah, even with the one in Svartalfheim, that's only if you go back to where Tyr was imprisoned, like later.
Yeah, so that's optional as hell.
Yeah, it's optional and like super out of the way. So, in the previous game, the trolls were like all up in your face. Everywhere you went, you were doing fucking troll fights. But with this, they're all secret bosses. You have to go out of your way to find the trolls.
You have to go out of
Good.
your way to fight the inconsistency.
You disposed of half the troll population. Is that an actual quote, or are you just memeing, Dylan? Because if that's an actual quote, that is so fucking
There were
funny.
only 8 of them. That is a small population, my guy.
I believe there was a lot more trolls than that in the last game. I'm sure we took out like 75%.
Let's see, God of War troll bosses.
Yeah, let's see the
Kratos and
percentage.
Atreya,
I thought you were gonna.
Yeah,
their
there
sole
was
reason
a
the
reference
troll
to
population
PlayStation All
is
Stars
low.
in the game. I don't know, there are 24 minutes worth of troll bosses.
I
How many
thought
That's
troll
a
fights
lot
are there?
of
There are
trolls.
10.
Fuck up.
10
God of
troll
War.
bosses.
Kratos canonically confirms that Parappa the Rapper is just the best.
It is an
singer in the universe,
actual
and that's fucking
quote. You
hilarious.
took out half of the troll population.
We've took out more than half of them.
I imagine we probably killed
Well-
a few more during the time skip.
Father and
I
son
mean,
eliminate
fair-
60% of the population.
Also,
To be
the
fair,
trolls
Kratos
being-
is a
trolls being really out of the way
genocide.
should theoretically, I think, be more in line with Norse mythology, because I'm pretty sure trolls are supposed to be like really reclusive.
Yeah.
Though they also, I think, live in
They
like
are.
fucking colonies and stuff. So
Yeah, I thought you were gonna look
Yeah.
up the God of War Ragnarok troll population.
let me look that up. God of War Ragnarok
let's-
troll population.
Father and
Mimir.
son
Just
cut
saying.
troll population.
We've barely
in
encountered
half.
any trolls this time around. Will Ragnarok fix boss variety and world population?
Yes.
Yes, it did. You know, but I know some people don't like the Grendel fight, but pretty sure everyone likes the Gatekeeper fight. That was what you should do with the troll fucking reskin. Just give it. It's a weird teleporting caster troll. You just fight it totally different than any of the other troll bosses. I quite like that fight actually. It's how you should do reskins.
I agree.
Give them a new gimmick and stuff.
I believe the furthest extent to boss reuses there are in the main story is, oh, here are 2 Dreki, here are 2 Soul Eaters. Yep. That's about it. Outside of multiple encounters with the same foe, like Thor. That's it. which I like a lot.
I don't mind the Drekkies because they're funny looking.
I believe God of War 2018 has, if I'm remembering correctly, 4 unique boss encounters. Technically, only 2. Because you fight Baldur more than once, and Sigrun is just a Valkyrie with all of the Valkyrie moves in one boss. So really, the only truly unique bosses in the game are Chrysler and Magni and Modi. That's not great.
Yeah.
That's not very good.
That's not, it's not. Kind of
this
shit,
game,
honestly.
Yeah, it is canonical. Kratos fought Parappa the Rapper, Nathan Drake, Raiden, and Sweet Tooth. Yep, those are things that he did. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Love that.
We should talk about it.
By the way, guys,
We should talk about
I made a tier list on Tier Maker, God of War series bosses, Ragnarok included. I think I shared the link on the Discord, if any of you guys want to use it. But I'm basically using this to keep track of the main bosses in the game. So, like, bosses you fight in the main story who aren't just, like, random shitters or whatever. So, let's do that to go in order. I believe we've got, let's see here.
Your tutorial boss, Bjorn.
Yeah, where is Bjorn? I'm counting how many bosses we have that I thought were worth putting on here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Where did I put the fucking 5? I don't think I put the fucking Einherjar Captain on there. 5, 6, 7.
That's a whole lot.
Who's next? 8. Who comes after? I'm trying to remember. 9, 10, 11.
Math with Misc.
Yeah, because they're not all in order on here, so I'm trying to count out all of the bosses. There's 11. Where the fuck did I put Houston Mist?
The real content you signed up
12. 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 main bosses, as far as I can tell. Let's go over them, shall we? As opposed to the, like, 5 that there were. I mean, I put more. You have 4 unique boss encounters in God of War 2018. In this game, there are, like, twice as many, I think? I think there are, like, 10, pretty much. There's, like, 10 unique boss fights. You could argue Hrolf's technically not unique. He's like Sigrun, but Gná is unique. So, let's get right down to business, shall we? Talking about boss fights, talking about boss mechanics and such. We've got Bjorn. Yeah, he's a bear. You fight him.
He's a really big bear.
He's a big bear. You get your Spartan Rage fighting him.
I will say that
when Bjorn roars, Kratos roars back at him. It has really good animation, by the way. It's the best animated bear I've ever seen.
10 out of 10 bear.
And then you find out it's boy, and you feel kind of bad. Yeah, not really. You fight a bear. That's your tutorial boss. This is the troll equivalent for the game.
The closest Kratos will ever get to child abuse with Atreus.
You could argue their whole journey's child abuse. But they're living in difficult times, so
yeah. Different child abuse had different definitions back then.
Whatever you want to paint as their excuse, yeah.
Then we get the actual first boss, which is fucking Thor.
Now this is where the fun begins.
This, in my mind, definitely tops the Stranger fight, and I actually have it ranked as the best God of War Ragnarok fight. I'll probably change my mind about that later on at some point. but that was the one that personally left the most impact on me. I think.
Fucking great.
I do
There's
love
so many
how
good moments to it.
both God of War 4 and Ragnarok put like their best boss, at least spectacle-wise, right at the beginning.
Well, that's
Stranger in
that's
4 is
smart.
just... It's a really good decision.
That's a tradition. That's a franchise tradition. You put your big spectacle right at the start of the game. Think of it. Hydra, Colossus
Yeah.
of Rhodes, Poseidon, the Basilisk, Scylla, who's pretty garbage, fucking Hecatoncheires. They always start off with a bang, and then kind of simmer after the fact. And then, you know, you fight some more bosses.
I feel like another reason why the initial Thor fight is so good is because there are a lot of highlights to it.
Oh yeah, it's basically just it's a constant hype show. It's like a fucking
Don't
DBZ
take too
fight. What if we
long.
took the Stranger fight and we just dialed it up to 11?
I find it funny
You get
how
fucking-
the full boss fight is the exact opposite of what Baldur says when you fight him. I'm not like my brother, this could have been more peaceful, and yet when you first meet Thor, you sit down.
He's like,
And you decide
hey,
to have a
can I
chat."
come in? I have
Yeah.
need.
You a calm and reasonable.
Fuck, that's such a great character introduction.
Man,
It's a
reasonable
good
person.
contrast to what you think he would have been like.
And then he
Yeah.
acts the way you think he would look like.
The fuck?
Hey,
Yeah. The end.
don't take all day.
The Odin line before the fight.
Don't take
Yeah,
all day.
that.
Or
It's
Come
so
on,
good.
fucking get this shit over with already.
Okay.
Deal with him. Then you get you get hit with Mjolnir and you get sent flying like 5 miles away to the Lake of Nine.
And then Thor points at
Yeah.
the WrestleMania
Mjolnir,
sign.
He points at the big WrestleMania sign.
Mjolnir definitely feels as powerful as I expected it to be.
You fucking
Goddamn,
the
that hammer came
knockback. He's got like
hard.
knockback 5 on Mjolnir. He fucking smacks Kratos with it and sends him flying 1,000 feet up into the air. And then it never has that same amount of impact ever again.
I don't
Yeah.
know what's the best
also do
moment
love-
in the fight.
Hard to say.
Getting
love
It's-
how
It's-
how
It's actually
It's either the resurrection or the flash freeze.
small thing that I do
Yeah, like-
is
every phase,
Both.
every part of this fight just does exactly what it needs to. The fucking start of it is
Yeah.
so over the top. All of the little transitions in between are great. The fucking like swinging around each other in the air after they destroyed Tyr's statue. The defibrillator.
yeah.
I love when
A
I
small
break the
thing
fourth
that-
wall.
A small thing that I do like about the spectacle fights for 4 and 5 is they both put a hole in Kratos' fucking roof.
And they
Both of
keep
them had to.
blowing
It's
holes
funny.
in Kratos' fucking roof. I think I
Small-
made a
small thing, but
joke
amusing.
about how you guys need to pay for my roof, and then Odin actually left a coin to pay for the roof.
Which has one of my favorite Mimir lines. I love that line for some reason.
Then you got the weapon clash. I love when my weapons of returning clash with each other in midair. And
This is-
man, Kratos
No,
gives him
it's
a fucking
great.
piece of his mind. Kratos is it's one thing when Kratos is like doing the Kratos thing, but I think it's a showing of his character development when he's like, "Man, you're a fucking piece of shit. You're a terrible dad." And then the rest of the
The
fight happens. You get the fucking
model
flash.
dial-
freeze.
The dialogue is really fun as well.
Oh yeah, they
I
have
wish
great
you
banter.
had your blades.
Guess they don't come when you call. Oh, and if you try to call your axe back to you in the first phase, he's like, "What? Can't fight without your axe, coward." He's great. He has great voice lines. The banter between the two of them is fantastic.
Yeah.
Model father.
That's how you
Mhm.
fucking set up like a rival
Yeah.
fight, honestly. And that's really more
I also
of what
I also love how
that's more of what
So
Thor
very-
is than a main antagonist. He is basically your rival foil character. He's also a
love it.
dysfunctional dad with a terrible past, but he's still
Well-
terrible.
we
He's trying his best.
Still, he's trying. I also
Honestly.
like Kratos' little line about Modi.
Yeah, it's
when-
like, you fucking asshole. Even in death, you put him last.
Yeah.
Oh, man. By the way, I love God of War power scalers. People that acknowledge the fact that, like, Kratos is stronger now than he was at the end of God of War 3, because he gets stronger with time. And,
Yes.
like, he says in the
Yeah.
novelization for 2018 that Baldur was the strongest enemy he'd ever faced. That includes Zeus. I also like that, like, fucking Baldur's got his invulnerability, Heimdall's got his mind-reading foresight, and Thor's still
Oh, the
stronger than
Heimdall
both of
fight,
them
I love it.
because he's a fucking tank. He's so fucking meaty, and just is so powerful that he
Yeah.
doesn't need a gimmick. I'm invincible. Oh, I can read your mind to tell what you're gonna do. I have a big hammer.
I have a
His
stomach.
gimmick is boomerang hammer.
The boomerang hammer, exactly.
I've got a gut.
He's got a big gut.
Try me.
So anyway, that Thor fight slaps. And frankly, nothing really comes close to it for many hours into the game.
No, yeah.
Basically,
Honestly, I feel the Thor fight is so good. It's such a fucking banger early on that most of like the first act of the game feels kind of slow in comparison.
yeah.
They did the exact same thing with the last game as well. That's how I felt with Stranger.
true. That is true. We don't really get any big crazy shit again until the Hraesler fight. So I won't hold that against the game too much. I think it's just my playthrough of this game was a lot more split up than like almost any other game playthrough I've done because I have work now.
Yeah.
So I had to go to work. I could only stream like once a day most days. I think there was
Had to
even like
get
one day I
banked.
couldn't stream at all. Oh, excuse me. So after Thor, the god of thunder, we fight Dreki. It's a funny little dragon alligator thing that,
Oh,
according to Dylan,
Florida.
I love them.
yeah,
I love-
Svartalfheim is Florida.
Hmm.
It is basically swamps, gators. Yep, basically Florida.
Yeah, I believe it was Dylan. Was it Dylan or Chilled that said that, like, oh yeah, in Norse mythology, Dreki are what happens when someone gets drunk and then drowns.
Yeah, that was
they turn
Dylan.
into a fucking an alligator dragon thing. And
Yeah,
apparently,
that was
after
cool.
Ragnarok,
Honestly,
Thor is supposed to turn into a big one, even though I don't think he drowned. Like, didn't he die of being poisoned?
Yeah, what's the point of Jormungandr having poison if you're
Yeah.
that big? Venom, actually.
It's a power play, you know.
Oh, yeah. Like, think about it. If you're that big, what is Venom even gonna do?
Kill Thor,
the
apparently.
fucking world serpent.
Apparently, it will kill Thor. Also, apparently the reason
Oh yeah, something
why
something that my friend pointed out.
the stomach gash.
Something that my friend. I think you were about to mention the thing I was. gonna
Yeah,
mention.
after Jormungandr spits back up your axe in the last game, it says it's gotten like an Aether enchantment or whatever. It's been imbued with Aether, which, if I understand correctly, is basically poison. It's been imbued with Jormungandr's
Yeah, it
poisonous
means
saliva.
poison.
Oh. I
I
believe
think
saliva.
my friend was like telling me
if
this
we're going with
yesterday.
the Komodo dragon.
So,
idea.
you know, that's why Thor spends the rest of the game walking around with an open, festering wound.
Yeah.
Oh, he
can't
died
heal
of
it 'cause
poisoning, but he
poison-
fell face first into a puddle. Oh my fucking god.
He dies like a bitch.
Yep.
It
I
is that is so funny to
Originally,
me that
I thought-
Thor is both the most intimidating Norse god and the most embarrassing Norse god.
Oh my god.
It's a contrast.
He's so real for that.
He just like me for real.
I originally thought the reason he had the. I originally thought the reason he kept the scar on his stomach that it didn't heal it is because kind of a memento of the battle. But. I was
But
wrong
not.
about that. Yeah. Literally could not.
So after we fight those Drekkies, we had an Atreus segment. And then we go to Alfheim. Yeah! And then we fight Alvana?
Misc, remember when you got your ass beat several times by those light elves?
I do remember that, yes.
By those weeaboo elves.
Very funny. They're so real for that.
So, Alvana, yeah, they're basically a light elf. And the light elves are cool. Anyway.
She exists.
After this...
She fucking exists.
Atreus has his dream quest, his fucking peyote trip to Jotunheim. And that 3-hour slog ends with you fighting Gryla, who is a giant. The whole point of this fight is you want to get Gryla to either expose the pot or stun her so the pot is exposed, or get her to fall over or drop the pot. You want to break the pot. The health bar is not Gryla's health bar, it's the pot's health bar. I like this fight because, you know, it's got some neat little mechanics. It's not anything really crazy.
You're bullying a senior citizen.
You're bullying a mentally ill old woman. But I like the kind of fairy tale feel it has to it. It feels like something out of like a storybook. All the children wandered into the giant's kitchen and sought to destroy her giant cooking pot that she uses to steal souls. Because I do believe, in Norse mythology, Gryla was a giant that would eat naughty children. So she is literally like a fairy tale character.
I do like how Gryla isn't completely evil. Like, afterwards
Hey,
you
she's
beat
just
her.
fucking jaded and
Angrboda
insane.
is just like, oh, she may have been a bit cruel, but she did still care.
Yeah. Yeah, you're fighting the homebrew stew. Oh, my apologies. The homebrewed stew is a pretty neat boss. It's not anything crazy, but I find it somewhat memorable just because I think it's kind of nifty. I think it's a neat little encounter, you know. Thor in Myth drinks the ocean. He did do that, didn't
Yes,
he?
the
That was one of the funny things he did.
three tricks.
Yeah.
Here, drink this cup of mead. Turns out it's the ocean. Thor can't do that.
Oh, the
Oh, yeah.
ocean.
So the guy literally calls Thor a bitch, and he's like, you know what? Here, can you lift up my cat? No. It turns out it was like a part of Jormungandr that he still lifted up. And then he's like, oh, you can't do that? Here, beat this old lady. And then he loses. But as it turns out, he was holding his own against the personification of old age.
Holy shit. How cracked.
And then the 3 other people, one of them being Loki. Loki was like, alright, I bet I can eat faster than this guy. And as it turns out, the guy that Loki was eating against was fire, because it ate the food, the plates, and the table. And Loki only ate the food.
I think I know what myth you're.
Yeah.
I think I know what
it's
you're
pretty
talking
good.
about.
Man, Norse
And then
mythology
there's
is kind of wacky.
And then there's this one guy who is
Norse
like, oh,
mythology
I'm
is
the
very
fastest one here. And he races him, and then he loses because the person he was racing against was the personification of thought.
Shit. Wow.
That's what this does.
Anyway,
Yeah.
after the Dream
Next
Quest
boss.
is over, we immediately get a Kratos boss fight against Vanadis, who turns out to be Freya. It's a Valkyrie fight. But they have a sword now instead of like a scythe or chakrams. She does like some poison bullshit. It's a Valkyrie fight, so it's pretty good.
Pretty nifty.
It is the most similar to the Valkyrie fights from the previous game. And those fights are all...
I didn't actually think it was Freya at first.
I didn't realize it was Freya
I didn't actually think it was
initially.
Freya at first. I recognized the name. I'm like, oh hey, that's another name for Freya. And I'm like, oh, they're probably just using it for another Valkyrie.
I didn't know that was another name for Freya.
Yeah.
I was
Probably.
unaware. So... You go through Vanaheim, and then you fight Nidhogg, who I've always just thought was called Nidhogg, not Nidhogg. I don't know if
Probably
anyone has
Nidhogg,
the
too.
real pronunciation or spelling.
Nidhogg, I don't know.
Just the way it is.
Yeah, Nidhogg.
Tater, thank you for reminding me of the Gape Newell video. It is insanely funny, and I haven't watched it in years.
It's real.
We would play Switch. Hold on, I gotta look that up on my phone so I remember to watch it later.
Apparently, Nidhogg just literally means malice striker. That's
Yeah.
that goes hard.
The Gabe
real.
Newell interview at Valve HQ. Oh, what a great video. Uncle Gubsby.
And then you'd say switch.
And then he'd say, we'd switch. Fuck. What a great video. What an all-time classic. Oh, fuck. Oh shit, we have a bot. Be gone, bot. Woo! Woo!
Bot activities.
You get the fuck out of here, bitch.
Love bots.
69
Yeah, it can't be a
xxx site.
We don't take too kindly to your robot kind.
Well, we don't take too kindly to spam bots around here.
It's not a Misc stream if we don't have a
That's
spam
genuine.
bot at some
So
point.
Needhogg, our first big beast
Good
boss
class.
of the game. And yes indeed, we do
It's
get
very
2 in
good.
this one.
And it's very cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how many big beast
I-
bosses we usually get. I guess we usually get like 2 per game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Around
Nid-
2.
Like,
You get 1 or 2 per game.
Last game you had the dragon and that's it.
Yeah. So in this game we get 2, and the first one is Needhogg, and Needhogg's really neat because it's a big salamander thing that fights you through tears in reality.
Which is awesome.
It has great
Very
visuals.
cool.
They're fantastic.
Claws in space.
I
Yeah,
love its
it's-
Bifrost attacks. I love when it fucking stabs its tail through realm tears, so the tail just comes out of the fucking air. I like that sometimes when it's climbing between the pillars, it climbs on the air upside down, and you can see like the shimmering of the Bifrost because it's like sticking its claws through realm tears in order to climb through the air. It's really neat. I like Freya's involvement in the fight because, you know, now we're having someone other than Boy helping us. It's really cool. I like its lasers. I like its big, weird vacuum belly thing. It's basically like fucking Goliath from DMC5.
The way you kill it is gold.
The way you kill it's cool. Kratos doesn't kill it, but he gets an assist. You pull a Doctor Strange on it. You close its head in the portal. And its arm, I guess. It's really neat. I like it.
I would definitely cook some Nidhogg meat.
Looks like it could be tasty.
Get a
Oh, right.
boss.
I was going to
And then
say, in actual Norse mythology, Nidhogg is not a protector of Yggdrasil. It literally just
It's a
eats
parasite,
Yggdrasil's
isn't
roots.
it?
It's a parasite. It poisons the roots.
Yeah.
It's also a winged
Something I
dragon
also find funny about the
because it's described after Ragnarok
find
as like
funny about it.
flying through the sky with fucking corpses on its wings.
That is really
something I
metal.
find funny about the
It's
aftermath.
hard.
Mhm.
Something I find funny about the aftermath is Rattatasker's just like, oh, I wonder where Nidhogg is in Cray. It's just like, gee, I wonder.
I totally
Dead.
expected
There's
its
no-
head to be fucking dropped right in front of the house. That would have been so funny.
That would.
Ratatosk could be
Would've
like,
been very
oh,
funny.
where's Nidhogg? Head.
So no head. Anyway, the next boss we get
Yeah.
to, I do believe, is drum roll everyone. A Frost Phantom. This is our
Oh.
new special gimmicky elemental boss, as opposed to the Ancients and the Soul Eaters, which do appear in this game. I didn't bother including them in the tier list though, because you know it's just the same.
You already reviewed them.
Yeah, they're okay. They're better in this game because they don't get overused. The Frost Phantoms are interesting because when you are actually fighting them, you're basically just building up stun, and then you have to destroy these little altar things, and that's their actual health bar. So they're neat little gimmick bosses. Not really much to say about them other than that.
They are very interesting to watch.
They are. Our next boss, if I'm remembering correctly, is Garm. That was fast. We got to the next big beast boss very quickly.
Wait, now that I
The big
think about
wolf.
it, both of the big bosses fight by tearing rift.
Because they're just that good. They're that strong. Reality can't contain them. Though,
that
with Garm, it's not really a part of his boss fight. So, oh, would you look at that? The silly, stupid fucking boy child unleashed the fucking Scourge of Realms. What do we know about Garm in Norse mythology other than that I guess he kills someone?
I fucking did
Oh,
not
he-
know
he-
he
he-
existed. I did
He
not know.
ate
Okay.
Tyr's other arm.
Okay, so from what I know is that Garm is known as the Hellhound,
Mhm.
and that he is interpretable as also being Fenrir, which explains why Garm in Ragnarok ate off Tyr's hand, whereas in actual Norse mythology it was Fenrir who did it.
Hmm.
As they are interpretable as the same.
And Garm ends up becoming Fenrir.
Exactly. So it works out.
Yeah, the Nidhogg's also another victim of Odin being a manipulative asshole. It basically
I
is
do
like, yeah,
like something I
Nidhogg will
like
always
about the
protect
Garm fight.
Yggdrasil's roots, so if you try to fucking break the roots to free your curse, Nidhogg's gonna come and attack you.
Something I do like about the
Ratatoska
whole
became a
Garm
new dead.
situation is the fact that how everyone fucking panics when
Oh, this
When they
is
hear
a
about Garm being
fuck
let
up of not insignificant consequence.
Boy,
Yeah,
you
my
let
friend
up the
fucking
dog.
loves that line. You. God.
Garm would have been better if it was a pit bull.
God's strongest
I
pit bull.
fucking.
Please rip this baby's face off. Do it.
You know, apparently pit bulls are becoming a lot more popular these days.
I
More
honestly like
children to
Mimir's
must.
reaction
Yeah,
to Garm.
now a lot more
Garm
people have
is-
realized they're cool. Anyway, what did you see about Garm?
I just like how. I think it was mine, but basically, I just like how Garm being released is basically a big fucking deal. It's just cool.
Oh yeah, like Mimir loses his shit over it.
And Freya's like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
Mimir's line is fucking great.
So something I really like about the Garm boss is that you actually just fight it on an even plane for the most part, like for the first phase at least. With most of the big spectacle bosses, you are on a platform, and the big spectacle monster creature is next to the platform, and you smack them a bunch, and then you use part of the environment to kill them most of the time.
And then it falls over and you can get a free hit on it.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of what you get with Garm, but in this case, no, you just fight Garm on even terms. It's
Yeah, you
designed
can run
really
up to-
well because you're basically only ever fighting its head, and whenever you hit it by the head, it kind of stays there for a bit. So you don't have this annoying shit where the hitbox is always constantly out of reach. Basically, anytime there's an opening and you capitalize on it, you can keep capitalizing on it for like 10 seconds.
Not to mention, you're not waiting for anything. You can always just freeze Garm's chain whenever you like.
Oh, you can? I thought you usually have to wait for him to do the slam attack.
Oh, well, yeah, either way, it's a lot more free to do it than compared to like when you're fighting the dragon last game.
Yeah, in the dragon in the last game, you're basically just smacking its hands and then fucking throwing the lightning things at it so it falls over and then you can hit it on the head. In this case, no, you fight Garm. You fight him. His moveset's really cool. I love the fucking giant chain. It's ridiculous.
I like how
Um,
he still lives even after you kill him.
Another thing I was going to mention, you get the best of both worlds with the Garm fight. Because the first phase, you kill him in traditional God of War fashion. Using the environment a little bit, you break his neck, I think. Either you fucking crush his windpipe, or you break his neck with his own collar. And then you leave, and then, like any all-time classic big spectacle boss, he follows you through the level. Because he's not fucking dead. He's a soulless creature. He can't die, apparently, I guess. Then you fight him again. This time it's more kind of like the usual, because for the most part he's kind of a bit more at a distance. I don't think you're really like fighting in the same open area. You're just trying weak points on his legs and stuff. You're hitting his collar, but then he keeps healing. So really what you're trying to do is just like stun him so that Atreus can go imbue Fenrir's soul into him. So, you do get to have your somewhat violent God of War finisher, but you also get a big dog. It ends
also
with you
kind
getting a
of-
big dog.
He also kind of feels like Cronus because he becomes a big stage hazard.
Well, that's just kind of like a lot of big spectacle God of War bosses. Like the Colossus of Rhodes is a stage hazard.
Yeah,
Hecatoncheires is a stage hazard. Poseidon's
It's
technically a
definitely
stage
good.
hazard. It's always the sign of a really good one. Oh, the Hydra is too. It's classic. As I said, the best ones are the ones that are a fucking menace throughout the level.
Yeah.
Next major boss after Garm is Heimdall. I think. I'm pretty sure that's the next big one.
I love that. I fucking love the Heimdall fight.
Heimdall fight.
He's 2.0.
Don't you guys love fighting humanoid enemies? I love fighting humanoid enemies.
They're the best.
Because the reason it's the best is because, generally speaking, humanoid enemies operate under similar mechanics to the character, to the player character. Which means you are basically fighting off against your own skill set, which you are familiar with using, but are not familiar with having used against you. The Heimdall fight has a really good build-up, because basically from the moment you meet the guy, he's a fucking asshole. You basically get a fight against him with Atreus that you can't win, and his dialogue is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like,
He is
anytime
built
you
up,
pull
so
something
you
out,
want Kratos to fucking murder him. It's
there
great.
is a realm shift runic ability that Atreus can get, and when you use it, Heimdall will pretend to be talking in slow motion. He'll be like, "Ooh," and then just go back to normal because he's like, I can also realm shift. I don't fucking care. Actually, I haven't tested this out yet. I haven't had a chance to. But I wonder
Great.
if it's possible for you to use realm shift when Heimdall does his realm shift and then just move at normal speed. I want to know if that's possible.
It's a JoJo moment.
Maybe.
So, you find Heimdall's a dick. He's an asshole. He's like the biggest cunt in the entire series. I'd say he's actually worse than Hermes, because Hermes is just kind of like an annoying little shit. Heimdall is actively malicious. He's like actively a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a lot more degrading.
Yeah. Ooh, arrows. Whatever shall I do? By the way, I like his design. It's interesting because of a lot of the lighting. I couldn't tell if he had black sclera or not. But it seems like no, he
couldn't
just
tell
has
either.
normal colored eyes and then his irises glow.
Yeah. But still cool aesthetic.
What were you saying,
Also
Tater?
funny gold
And
teeth.
he's got grills.
And he's got grills. So most of the Aesir have tattoos, except for Heimdall. He has gold teeth. What a fucking prick.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, he gets
He's a
introduced eating an
massive piece of
apple,
shit.
so you know he's a piece of shit. You know he's an asshole because he's eating an apple when you meet him.
Yeah.
So yeah, build up is really good. You find out from the
Getting
Norns.
dropped near for it.
Yeah. I love when we find out from the Norns. Oh yeah, you're destined to kill Heimdall, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. As
Good.
soon as Heimdall is finished beating up Atreus, I'm like, man, I can't wait for my dad to come and disembowel you.
Yeah. Heimdall
Also-
is an example of just this-
That
yeah,
interaction with Thor that he has, you
You're
are
a
a
sick
sick man. That's so funny. The way Thor like
Look at
looks
fucking
down at that
shithead.
arrow, he looks down at that arrow first as he's like, I'm gonna stick this arrow up your ass. That's how I'm gonna stop you. It's like, you're a sick motherfucker.
Oh,
Anyway, what
well,
were you
I
saying,
know
Neo?
a boss fight.
The boss fights are great.
The boss fight. First off, you fight Ghoultoper. Ghoultoper's neat. A lot of shit that you can do shield bashes with. Not too much to say about him.
Big
He's
dog.
kind of he's amusing enough. Then you get to the actual Heimdall fight. It's kind of weird that suddenly you're able to hit him after you manage to finally hit him the first time. I guess he just kind of stopped
I feel
giving a
like-
shit because he was like, "Oh, pain's not as bad as
I
I
feel like
remember," which surprised me.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
he
feel
kind
like
of
it's that, and maybe he's off his game because he has not been hit in fucking.
Yeah,
decades.
I imagine he's a little bit rattled.
Yeah, so him actually getting hit threw him off.
there's a few things to mention, like when you're fighting him on Toba, and he's hitting you against the wall, and he gets off of Gultoba to
Oh,
stop
I love that
kicking
where
you.
he fucking steps onto your head. I'm like, they understand. Any really disrespectful character fucking steps on your face.
And after you do kill Gultoba, he's just pointing
He
at
fucking
it like.
kicks it. Man, it's like, well, this is just you and me.
There's also some other
and
cool
something else about
things.
Heimdall.
One of the
The
coolest
biggest- I-
things is sometimes, when you throw Dropnir at him, he will catch it in his hand and then look at it. And if you keep throwing them at him while he has it, he'll just block it with that instead of his sword. But he'll catch it, and you can make it explode in his hand, which is really funny.
Yeah, that's great. I will say another thing, kind of another nail in the coffin that makes you fucking hate Heimdall. It is just he just did salt into the wound with about Baldur with.
Oh
Freya,
yeah, it's like
considering-
Queen Mistletoe.
There's
Yeah.
other good
Hilarious,
things,
by the way.
By the way, yeah.
If you try to use
Such
the
a
Blades
good
of Chaos or the Leviathan Axe, he actually has different reactions depending on them.
Oh, what are his reactions to those? Because I never bothered with him because I was like, this
So
is what the spear's for.
if you try using the Leviathan Axe, he's like, oh, what's this axe gonna do? And if you try using the blades, it's like, oh, what are these tiny little
I
things?
will also say, I
be?
felt like I recognized him from somewhere. His voice just like I feel like I've heard you, and I had to look it up. He plays Harry Osborn in Spider-Man 2018. I'm like, oh, that's
Oh,
where I've heard
interesting.
you. Yeah.
He's Robin from like Injustice.
Yeah. Like I
He-
feel like I've heard you before.
He
but I
always
can't put my
plays
finger on
like an asshole. It's
He's very good.
I love actors who always play someone that's just an asshole.
they're great at it. Like, I love actors like I forget his name. You know the one.
So... Oh, not stream's not buffering, that's just studio catching
Scott
up.
Porter.
Interesting. Alright, I think you heard he also voices Robin in Injustice or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Damien.
annoying little bastards.
Typical.
He's discount Baldur
Yep.
a little bit. Whereas Baldur
Hey,
can fucking take as many hits as he
active to the
wants
blade.
and not have any issues. Heimdall will just not get hit. It's also questionable if Baldur or Heimdall is stronger. I'd say Baldur's stronger just because he has like fucking stupid strength feats.
When you before you fight Heimdall, Kratos even says, "I have faced stronger gods."
Hmm.
Yeah. Another line that I do like, with, mentioning Baldur and Heimdall, the whole dragon thing when Atreus.
Oh yeah,
mentions
it's
that,
like,
that's just
oh, you
a
got
really
this
line
fucking
to me.
cat thing? Baldur had a dragon. Yeah, Baldur didn't care about how many times he got lit on fucking fire trying to tame a dragon. I do.
It's so.
I do
uh,
say that the way Heimdall fights in the first phase, when he's just throwing like your spears away from him, is so fun to watch.
I love when he does the attack you have to dodge in the first part. If you get hit by it, he knocks you down to your knee and then just fucking he does a fake out on you. Like he pretends to hit you just to fuck with you.
And then we get the arm moment.
Well, first, I like the
Actually, wait, no,
progression
the
with the
punches.
stuns.
Yeah.
I like the progression with the stuns. You get like a little bit closer each time. First time, like all of it misses him. Second time he has to block, and then that third time he like catches your fist and you just fucking smash him in the face.
Yeah, it really shows that his
It's-
power of prediction isn't perfect. It
It's-
reads your emotion, not your mind.
Yeah. And if Kratos just isn't thinking, well, what the fuck is he gonna predict? It was like in the
And if
recent
you're just too
Chainsaw Man
quick-
chapter where it's like, I can read his mind, I figure out what he's gonna do. Oh, he's not thinking about any of this right now. Oh god. He's not thinking about
Yeah.
anything.
I love his. I also love Heimdall's realization of, you're gonna fucking spare me.
Oh yeah. Well, before we
That.
get into that, I like the realm shift in the fight because I'm pretty sure he is the only enemy we ever fight that uses realm shift.
I'm
And
pretty
it's
sure
just
he is.
Cool that other people use that. I also like what's the name of Heimdall's sword? I know it's actually important in Norse mythology. It's got a name.
Let me.
Ho something. I think it starts with an H. Hopnung.
What? The
Hofund.
Hi,
Hofund,
Hofund,
I
yeah.
believe.
Hofund, and then we've got Skofnung.
Which is Norwegian.
Hofund, yeah.
Yeah,
Man-head.
it's a cool sword. I dig it.
Apparently it means man head.
Man head. I think that might mean like he cuts guys' heads off.
Probably.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
I believe it's stated as doing that in a codex in-game. It separated many people's heads from their bodies.
Based.
Yeah, so the actual fight against him is neat. It's a humanoid boss fight. They always slap. He's very similar to Baldur, but with, you know, like the unblockable and the realm shift, which is interesting. Because with realm shift, you know, it's not time stop, it's time slow. Hofnung belongs to
Yeah.
a very different type of
It's,
asshole.
Slow it down.
But yeah, Heimdall says he can't be touched, and then gets proved very wrong. Yeah, he's like, I'm Greek. Give me your butthole.
that would have been one way to beat
Just
him.
like that Icelandic myth where apparently he gets touched, very bad touched by Thor.
I couldn't find anything on that, so I don't know. Can't verify if that's true.
Ew.
Dylan, I believe
I
you were the
cannot
one that
either,
mentioned
because
that. You said it was part of the Icelandic myths, so I don't know.
Uh,
What is
drop-
your source for that one?
How about you back it up with a source? My sources, I made it the fuck up.
Senator, why don't you back that up with a source?
I made him up.
I made him the fuck up.
This man up.
Check the internet lately.
Check the internet lately.
Mental.
Speaking of Metal Gear Rising, Misc, when are you playing that?
I don't know,
I
at
should
some point.
Nah.
So we're gonna
Metal
talk
Gear
about
Rising, the
how
only game that
we.
turned
Oh
Twitter
yeah,
into a
so you
platform.
stab Heimdall in the arm, and then since he's now pinned to the wall, oh right, I don't think he's ever had any enemy, save like, I don't know, probably Hermes, straight up just beg him to stop.
Yeah, I do love the
Oh, and
scream he
Kronos kind of did
gives.
too.
It's
Oh,
great.
he's such a whiny bitch when it happens. I say as if I wouldn't have the same
Yeah, he is.
reaction or more intense.
With like a spearhead in your arm.
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine that's quite painful, having a weapon pierced entirely through your arm, like right through your bone. Think about how that like snaps your bone in half.
Right through your bicep too. Oh god, that fucking hurts.
Yeah, you can
I
tell
do-
why he was upset about that.
Yeah.
And
And
then
immediately he flips his switch again. He's like, stop, and then it's like, wait, no.
stop.
You're
And then once you
pitying me.
stop, it's, oh, I'm going to egg you on even further and expect good things to happen. At which point,
What?
I'm glad we carry over the in-game mechanic. Since there's a spear copy stuck in his arm, we just fucking smack that thing on the ground and blow his goddamn arm off.
Gotta love
And
dropping
then
it.
gets a Bifrost arm.
I do love that the thing that gets Kratos to do that is him saying, "I'm gonna gut Atreus," basically.
Anytime
That's the
someone
line.
threatens the boy. Don't forget when Thor was like, oh yeah, Allfather has plans for the boy. That's when he goes fucking rage mode. Or when Baldur
Yeah.
was like, oh, ho ho ho, I wonder what you're hiding in your house. I'll have to go take a look. And that's the first time we get Spartan Rage.
Why are there 2 beds?
Yeah, why are there 2 beds in there? Fuck off.
Dead wife. Leave me alone.
I like to switch beds every once in a while.
I like to mix things up, keep things fresh.
Yeah, one bed can be cool the next day.
Phase 3, he uses the Bifrost to somehow create a prosthetic arm that moves
It's
normally.
very cool.
As you
Yes.
know,
Very cool.
elemental prosthetics are always the coolest thing ever. They will never not be the
Bifrost
coolest
does
thing
kind
ever.
of suck, but
Bifrost is alright. It's like a neat, unique status effect.
I
It
just don't
sucks
like it.
when you get Bifrost stacked on top of you and someone summons it down from the fucking sky. Anyway.
Talking from experience?
Oh, maybe a little bit.
Yeah? Recent memory?
A little. Something fresh in my mind.
Last night.
Suffering
So-
from a little PTSD?
Now when you fight Heimdall in this third phase, he's kind of having a Joker moment. He's just going kind of loopy, probably because his brain is like pumping so much fucking adrenaline through him to not pass out or something.
Let's see.
He starts
He gets his
doing
own-
realm shifts and then running at you to do grab attacks. He rips stones out of the ground, like whole fucking boulders, and imbues them with Bifrost to throw at you. He does
Starts
like
doing compound
triple
grabs.
ground explosion combos. Basically, it's the first phase, but the elegancy of the sword. Elegancy is not a word. The elegance. I'm tired. The elegance of the sword and Galahorn are gone, and it's just him being kind of a maniac. And then
Yeah.
when you finally finish off his phase, he kicks fucking dirt in your face. Which, you know, the only natural response to you getting hit with pocket sand is to fucking beat someone down into the ground and then smash their face on the floor before strangling them to death. It is the most satisfying death in probably in the whole Norse saga. Because no one deserved it more than fucking Heimdall.
And I have to say,
Like
And
I
it's the
said
most similar to
earlier,
old Kratos, so...
my favorite.
Heimdall is written to make you fucking hope Kratos just beats his skull into the ground.
Oh, and you know
until
what's
there's nothing
great?
left.
You know what's great? When you're strangling the life out of someone and they're able to see inside your mind.
Oh,
Yep.
oh.
So when he
I-
calls Kratos a monster, that's because he's able to see what Kratos is thinking.
Yep.
You know, I say my favorite part about his death is when Mimir's head falls on the floor. and
Yeah,
he's
it's
So
great.
Mimir gets
begging-
like a full view of what's going on. He's like, "Hey, Kratos, you better fucking calm down a little bit." Anyway, the Heimdall boss fight's really
I-
fucking good. It's a really good boss.
One of my favorites.
It's great.
I
It's
love
one of the
it.
best bosses in the game. Dylan says the Thor Diddle event happened in Catholic tomes around Iceland, as Christianity likes to shit on every kind of god, including Thor and Heimdall. Well,
Oh, yeah,
that makes
that's
perfect
the reason
sense
Norseman is
then.
all over the place.
The
Yeah, 'cause-
Catholics do like diddles.
You have pagan,
Christianity.
you have pagan Norse myth, and then you have Norse myth after Christianity started spreading around everywhere. You know, the Christianization of various religions.
I do love that the Catholic like to degrade him by diddling.
His brother.
Did the same with the Celts, with Celtic
Mhm.
mythology. Thanks about that.
See you later, Tater. I wonder when AET is gonna be done. Maybe Neve or someone can join. I have no idea.
And I found cocaine. Never just texts me, Wildflower might die, and I'm like, fucking what? She didn't, but
No way.
I was scared there for a second because apparently they were doing something related to the Binding of Isaac. It was like a Binding of Isaac style session.
Oh, interesting.
And
Yeah,
Never
Water's
just-
hosting the session, right? Or is it play free?
I think so. No, it's not play free. Who's hosting it tonight? Let me.
I
It's
feel
Zeph.
somewhat
It's
genius.
Compu's hosting it.
I feel
Yeah.
good about that little joke I just made.
Reverse exorcism is when the devil is asking a priest to leave a child's body.
Yeah.
Sunny says, here's a fun Norse myth. There was a great goat named Heodrun whose udders provided endless supplies of beer. I feel like I've heard of that one. Norse mythologies has just got a whole bunch of wacky creatures.
It's
It
a
does.
shame that we don't get any mention of the golden boar that Sindri and Brock made.
Didn't that get referenced in the last game?
Sad.
I feel like it did.
I want to meet it.
Let's see, after Heimdall, various insane plot shit happens, and then the next major boss we get is Hrist and Misc, a Valkyrie duo fight. That's right, folks. These are the new upgraded Valkyries. They've got some new shit added into their moveset from the old Valkyries.
And they decided to share a health bar.
They have a shared health bar, which was really weird at first. This is the strangest shared health bar I've ever seen.
I guess they just really feel each other's pain.
Yeah. I mean,
I
wouldn't it
guess
make more
so.
sense to just have one health
Go link and all
bar
that.
and then like maybe have one name on top and one underneath, or one at like each side or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, or like
But I've gotten used to it.
Interesting.
I just think it's a nifty health bar. It's neat.
I will say the background for this fight is probably one of the best.
Oh yeah, the
you know,
Spark of
just
the World is fucking
visually.
beautiful. I should talk about Surtur, because he's in the game for like 10
I
minutes and I fucking love Surtur.
Wait, what?
He's in there for like
Surtur's
10
design is
minutes,
fucking
but he's
outstanding.
like the best character.
Because you
I
know
love
what?
Sir.
He's so chill, which is weird because he's a fire giant. And like every other interpretation of Surtur, he's like a raging maniac.
Yeah, I like
And in
that.
this
The
case, he's
build up
just
for
chilling.
Sir.
Probably because he's got like a fucking cold heart.
When you meet him and you just walk into his area.
And he's just like,
and
go
it's-
away, and he fucking waves his hand, and you get blown back into the next room. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's like
and
top of
it's
the verse or
swords
something.
everywhere.
Yeah, because that's just his hobby. He's got nothing else to do. He just keeps making those.
Yeah, eternally making swords.
Yep. Yeah,
The
it seems to
the
just be what he
true
does to
man's
pass the
career.
time until he dies, I guess.
And he just
The
uses a
true
random
man.
rock.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's made of fucking fire. It's not like he needs to worry about getting burned or something. He doesn't need a hammer. He just picks up a rock
Yeah,
and
he-
starts fucking hammering stuff with it.
He's just a rock.
Surprisingly, the
Just a
term
rock.
"get out of
I
that
like the
child"
beard.
applies to both types of exorcism. So anyway, Surtur's, I fucking love Surtur's line where he's like, "Have you ever been in love? It's pretty good." It's like, damn, I love being able to relate to characters, cause that is. I love how most times when a character describes being in love, they do like this really flowery speech or something, and it's just like, oh, that's so sweet. With Surtur, it's just like, it's pretty good.
He's got that old man feeling
He's
where he
the
just
cool old uncle.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
reminds me of my.
Just so
Actually,
happens
my
to be-
uncle is like a weird fusion of Odin and Surtur. He's great though. He's fantastic.
That's from what you've told us of your uncle. He does seem cool.
Yeah, it's like, just imagine me 50 years in the future. Actually, no, it'd be more like 40 years in the future.
Wacky.
45.
And whack.
Those blades. Can you stab me in the heart?
Would you mind stabbing me in the heart with those swords you've got there?
And then right when you're about to do it, he's like, but not,
Not
here.
here, though. Otherwise, I would just die.
I need to die in a very specific place for this to work.
So anyway,
No,
you go to
don't-
the Spark of the
don't-
World,
don't-
which looks cool as fuck.
Oh.
Great. And then you fight Priest of Mist. It's a duo fight. Why is this a good duo fight? Well, they have a shared health bar, so you don't have a weird point at which you're just fighting one of them, you know, if you focus on one solely. And also, Boy keeps the other one distracted. So it's a very balanced duo fight. They get stronger with each phase, like they literally get like a fucking anime power-up each time, which is really cool.
They do several Ornsteins and Smoes.
They have actual combo attacks. At least in the third phase, they have a straight-up fucking combo attack, where one of them lifts a big rock up into the air, and then the other one stabs their spear into it and does like a fucking flip through the air to use the rock as a hammer. Tater, you're mistaken. You gotta update your stream. We're actually at 14 likes, which is very good. And then the end for this fight, the finisher, is really
It's
good.
fucking great.
When Boy decided to Bjorn all over them.
Boy, he Bjorns all over those women. The teamwork makes the dream work duo finisher on the duo boss. It's great. It's fantastic.
It's fucking great.
So our next boss,
Time Boy actually gets a proper finish on a boss.
Thor 2, in the middle of Ragnarok happening. I am done with you and your son. I have had enough of this shit.
I like how when he grabs you, you just stop bitch slapping
You just start
him.
fucking punching the shit out of him. So, with this fight, I think I was initially kind of underwhelmed by it, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember you being.
But I like it less than the first Thor fight, but I still think it's very good. I still plays it in Beak. It doesn't have the same spectacle. The boss arena is not nearly as cool, but it is better in terms of mechanics because it's the complete
Because you got the
Thor fight.
entire kit.
You got all of your shit. Thor is going all out this time, so he has way more moves and stuff than he had in the first fight. And then you have the story implications, which are really good. You know, Thor being a fucking raging maniac as always, and now being, like, pushed over the edge. And Kratos trying to reason with him. He's like, Thor, listen to me. We do not need to do this. He's like, no, you have fucking nothing I want to hear. We do have to do this. It's what we are. I imagine that feels like a personal call-out to a lot of God of War fans, like old God of War fans.
The OGs.
It's like, yes, we do have to do this. We must kill Thor. And that's why I imagine some will be kind of disappointed with the fight, because we don't actually end up doing that. We don't end up doing that, but, you know. The transitions between each phase are really good. Fucking,
The backdrop is nice.
smashing up against the Great Lodge, punching the shit out of Thor, and then latching on to Mjolnir with the Blades of Chaos, which he electrocutes you through, and then swinging them around at him, yanking yourself back to him, and stabbing him in the big chest wound, I guess the big stomach wound that you left on him earlier. And then he, like, fucking conjures lightning up onto himself, and when he roars, he's got the electric voice modulation. I love voice modulation on characters with electricity powers. It's the best.
Oh, that shit always
I
goes
do
hard.
like characters with electricity powers.
The second one, basically, Kratos tries to grab onto Mjolnir for a bit. I'm like, yes, give me the fucking hammer. Give me that goddamn hammer. I want it. I need it. We never get it. I cry. I weep. Tears of
Sad.
blood.
Misc, you gotta realize it was so funny telling you to go to Alfheim afterwards.
Fuck you, you piece of
was.
shit.
That was great. I believe it too.
You fucking bastard.
Ah, you go Alfheim, you can get the hammer there.
Me
Woman
when I
steals it.
spread misinformation on the
Woman
internet.
moment.
Oh,
So,
Boy.
and then the third one, you try to steal Mjolnir, it doesn't work, and then you just fucking stab Thor with dropping and make it explode. It's cool. Now, the end of the fight, it's not the craziest thing ever, but you get not one, not two, not three, but 4 clashes between the Leviathan axe and Mjolnir. It's great. Especially the fucking money shot with the first clash, with Thor coming down at you and Kratos is like sinking into a crater from the force of their clash. It's great. It's wonderful. I love it. But you know, this fight ends off like pretty low key, with pretty much just Kratos just being like, "No more brother wars. Think of the children." And then Thor is like, "Wow, you're so real for that. You're so right." No, it's way better than
I do like it.
that. Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. It's not the way people would have expected it.
It's not. It doesn't have the same visceral satisfaction. But also, by the time we were like going to Niflheim with Thor, I was like, I don't really want to kill this guy. Like, he seems like he just kind of has some issues he needs to work out. It's weird to be in a God of War game and
Empathetic.
have gods that you don't want to kill.
It's weird to feel empathy to Thor.
Yeah, he's like, when he says, like, hey, don't you know what I've done? Yes, I've done, like, 10 times worse than what you've done, and I'm still trying to be better.
I killed an entire pantheon,
'Cause-
and I'm still trying to be better.
In principle, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past, so long as you try to be better now. You've done bad things in the past, but as long as you are here, you can try to be better. And Thor does, and that gets him fucking murked by Odin. Because if he's not useful anymore, what the fuck does he want him around for? So let me get to the Odin fight. And the Odin fight's pretty fucking good. It's pretty good.
I was very pleased with the Odin fight.
A lot of really. It is basically exactly what I hoped the Odin fight would be. You are fighting an archmage. You are fighting a
The
fucking
magic
level
man.
30 wizard. He even has a spell book. It's just him casting a bunch of magic at you. He's like anti-Zeus, where Zeus is like, well, I mean Zeus is also throwing lightning at you, but you know, like Zeus is like punching the shit out of you. He's a big physical fighter. He's a brawler.
Zeus's fight was so physical that you end up having a 2D moment.
The first phase of the Zeus fight in God of War 3, you will literally fight in a fucking 2D space, like a goddamn fighting game. In this case, oh, he's a magic caster. He's a wizard. So you're mostly like dodging spells and stuff, though he'll also do spear attacks. They're pretty good, and then you got the arena getting split up into 3 platforms.
And then he starts doing fury attacks.
Yeah, you gotta leap between the platforms because they're turning into hurt zones, so you should fucking run away. After that phase, we get Freya getting a little bit of her comeuppance on Odin for like a minute.
With the noose.
With the noose. And then you crash through the ground. Yeah, you fight the strongest D&D wizard player, pretty much. You crash down into Odin's office, which isn't really his office, but you know, the study, whatever.
His
the place
man
where
cave.
the rift is. His actual man cave. That's very accurate. And Atreus decides to destroy the mask that has Greek writing on it. What will that mean? Hopefully we find out at some point.
The mysterious MacGuffin.
Kratos, why didn't you read the mask? You're Greek. But I digress. That's when Atreus decides to break it for some reason, because I guess just Odin should never be allowed to have it. And that's when Odin's like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
This is when he has his Joker
He has
moment.
his Joker moment. He starts doing way more magical bullshit. He starts summoning orbs and birds. He throws birds at you. You get hit with fucking bird attacks.
He also loses the cloak.
That's actually in
Doesn't he
the
lose
third
the
phase.
cloak
That's in
phase
like the
as
last
well?
third of his health or whatever. He gets smacked around a wee bit, and his birds get killed, and that's when he decides to, I don't know, punch his spell book, which causes an explosion, and then the cloak comes off, which is when you know it's like super serious mode. And then he starts doing a bunch of like fucking ground area denial stuff. He summons like 5 fucking orbs or whatever.
He starts
does a bunch
doing
of Bifrost
blade
attacks.
attack.
Yeah, like just a whole bunch of really cool shit. And then, you know, you finish him off with a big team combo attack. Everyone gets a little bit of a piece out of Odin. And the finisher on Odin is definitely very toned down from the old games. I know a lot of people would have loved to have, like, gouged out his other eye or something. We all would have.
But I like that boy gets it.
Boy, I fucking knew when we were setting up Kratos' rivalry with Thor really hard, and it seemed like Kratos had very little to do with Odin, while we literally got to play Atreus, and he had a bunch of stuff going on with Odin. I'm like, oh, Atreus is the one that kills him. Totally, 100%. And he does. And I like, you know, we're still doing the whole, oh yeah, we can be better, people can change. Atreus tries. He's like, he tries to talk to him, and Odin, he's just so... He's cucked. He's cucked by fate. He doesn't think he has any kind of urgency or control over any of his actions. Everything that he does, no matter how bad it is something that he has to do. Because he's just so obsessed with knowledge and learning the truth and figuring out how to escape his fate of dying in Ragnarok that it doesn't matter what he does. Because there's no choice. He has no choice. But there's always a choice. And you can always choose to be better. But, you know, even when Atreus tries to talk no jutsu him to convince him to be a better person, he's like, no, I can't.
His charisma stat was just a bit too low.
You rolled too low on the persuasion roll, Atreus. I
Logan
love
Ruiz
that
fails.
line where he's like, I have to know what happens next. I will never stop. And it's just like, well, so you have chosen death. And
I
he gets
mean-
his soul soaked out.
Your soul is mine.
Your soul is mine.
Look, the
Which is
real
something
death
Hades
of
says.
Odin is far better.
Yeah, Sindri, like, Atreus doesn't want to kill him, Kratos doesn't really give a shit, and Freya's like, I don't need to revenge kill my husband to, be complete. So then they hand it back to Atreus, who is just like, oh, I guess I'll put this in my pocket or something. But isn't there someone else you forgot to get consent from? That's right, it's Sindri, who just shows up and smashes Odin's soul with the hammer you get for Brock in the Brock side quest in the last game.
So basically, appears, kills Odin,
Leaves.
fails
That's a very nice
doesn't elaborate further, leaves.
Yep.
Giga Chad.
Truly peak. So yeah, that's the final boss for the game, and I think it's really good. I don't think it's better than the Baldur fight. I think these fights should have had a little more spectacle. I was thinking of insane bullshit that would happen with the Rift that would just make these fights, like, ridiculous, and they just kind of didn't happen. Like, you just kind of fight them. They're so good that you just fight them, but I feel like there could have been more of a spectacle aspect added in.
Okay, so imagine this. Instead of the mask being destroyed, as the fight progressed, imagine if the rift became furthermore and more open
That would've
until
been-
he dies.
That would have been cool. I would have liked that. Anywho, since Odin's dead, we get into post-game content, kind of. After a certain point, like when you're going to look for the Norns, you get Skofnung, a cursed sword that some Bleach fans may be familiar with, I think. Pretty sure that's the same one. And, this unlocks this game's version of the Valkyries, the Berserker Spirits. 12, though I think there's technically only 8 boss encounters. Glowing green skeleton Viking men, who you go and fight in ice arenas. And each time you kill them, you get some shit. And once you've killed all of them, you get to fight King Hrolf, who is basically this game's version of Sigrun, because it's all the Berserker moves put into one guy. And how is he? Not nearly as good as Sigrun. You know why? Because the Berserkers have way more inconsistent quality than the fucking Valkyries do.
He's a funny green guy.
Some of the Berserkers are really good. Some of the
Individually,
Berserkers,
that is.
mostly the gank ones, are not very good. Like, they got some cool shit, but some of them just have annoying shit. Which means that Hrolf has some really good shit, and then he also has some really fucking annoying shit. I'd say, overall, he's definitely a pretty good boss, but I wouldn't say he's, like, a really good boss. He's solid. He's pretty decent. He's pretty good.
He's good.
And you get fucking summon swords from beating him, so it's, like, totally worth it.
Yeah.
But then we get the real super
Yeah,
post-game
love summon
boss.
swords.
So how
Valkyrie
many
Queen
hours
Gná.
did Gná take?
I believe she took
The-
me
the
about
bane
3 hours.
yes,
2.5 to
it's
3
it.
hours.
That was fun staying up to see
I
that.
mean, I did have fun fighting her, even if some of the shit did frustrate me a bit. Gná's literally just, have you mastered the game? Are you a master of the game? Also, did you do a lot of exploration to get upgrades and shit? No. Then
Doesn't
leave and
matter,
come
those
back
health
later.
upgrades mean
Literally.
nothing.
Gná shows up and will just fucking stand there and wait for you to make a move. So they're like, oh, are you not ready to fight me now? Yeah, you can fucking come back later. I can wait. I got nothing else going on. Come back. Which I appreciate. She is a very honorable foe, for the most part. Like, even straight up allows herself to be honor killed. You know what? I think I may put Charon beneath Neathog.
No, you know, I will say, she doesn't
Okay.
look as goofy as Sigrun. Sigrun's mask was so silly to me.
Actually, I'm gonna put Charon down a little bit. Now that I think a little bit more about Charon, he's kind of basic compared to a lot of other bosses.
He's good for the game he's in, but
He's
that's it.
really good for the game he's in. But, yeah. So sad. Anyway. Gná according to other people, is not harder than Sigrun. I have not fought Sigrun in a very long time, so I don't personally remember how hard she is. I think it took me like an hour to beat Sigrun whenever I eventually got to her. So, you know, I personally had a harder time with Gna, if I'm remembering correctly. But I actually like Gna more than Sigrun, because Gna is mostly an original boss. Most of her stuff, as far as I'm aware, is unique to her. Even if it's not, I think maybe like half of it is stuff from Priest and Misc.
Who are basically original themselves.
Right, yeah. They're very different from the Valkyries in the last game. And Gna is fairly different from them. So instead of having a boss who is essentially 8 or 9 bosses put together, she is just a new boss, and I like that more than the case with Sigrun, who's just a big compilation. She is the hardest boss in the game. Definitely the hardest boss. You want to make sure you have everything upgraded as much as you can. You want to make sure you have the strongest runic attacks you can get. You want to make sure you have really fucking busted relics. You want to make sure you have the best enchantments. You want to be the absolute strongest you can possibly be. And then you want to make sure you know how to play the fucking game. Because even if you've got like a bunch of insane damage stacking shit, if you can't dodge the sudden thrust attack, or if you keep getting hit by For Asgard, or the fucking Judgment Cut Rush grab attack, which will one-shot you a lot. Same with the For Asgard thing. If you have less than half of your health, you're going to die. So she has like hyper lethal moves, but once you get to learn them, you can dodge them pretty reliably. Also, I like the runic and or not, is it runic? The pink magic and the green magic. I like the implementation of the different arrow types into the boss, because I don't think we have any other boss that works that way. So I like that that's included.
You got Bifrost on you, brother.
Yeah. Brother, you're covered in Bifrost.
Brother, you're covered in Bifrost.
I can feel Bifrost in my neck. Stop.
You know that.
Just normal frost in his neck stump.
Oh,
and she calls like down like fucking Bifrost onto the ground and stuff. She has like a couple moves that I think are a little annoying, and I think her getting stunned is really inconsistent, because sometimes she can get knocked out of doing stuff, sometimes she can't. I don't know if it just depends on when you knock her out of it. I have no idea. But those things aside, for me to have fought a boss for like 2.5 hours, and by the end of it say, yeah, that was pretty fun. It's a good boss. Like, it's a really good boss. Definitely very much worth the challenge, I'd say. And
you are one of the 0.1%. Good job.
Apparently, I guess. I'll have to go take a look to see how many have beaten them right now. Yeah. There are like some other bosses that are in like side quests and shit. You got the Drakes, you got the dragons.
The Raven Keeper.
The Raven Keeper, who seems to just be a revenant and then a dragon, I guess. That's whatever. I don't really care about that. The dragon fights in Vanaheim are pretty neat. I like those. The Drake fights are neat. Yeah, this game seriously stepped up the boss quality from 2018, and it's very noticeable. They stepped up the quality and they stepped up the quantity, which is like the best thing that can happen. More and better. It's great. So yeah, it's God of War Ragnarok. A really good game. I still think Elden Ring should be Game of the Year.
Same.
It should.
I love Ragnarok's story and characters. I love a lot of the bosses in it, but Elden Ring just feels like a way more impressive achievement of a game.
Oh, well, you
It's not that this game's not impressive, but like, it's really normal. You know what I mean?
Not to mention, you look at it and it just feels like the last game.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
A lot better.
It's 2018 but bigger and better. Which is what you want out of a sequel. Sequels should be bigger and better. It's kind of their point. Like, if you're not going to go bigger and better, what's the point of doing the sequel? And the man, Kratos, is the fucking PlayStation mascot. So, you know, obviously they're gonna dedicate a lot of effort to giving the man a good outing.
And it was a very good ending overall.
Yep. Very good game. Very pleased with it. I obviously am doing a second playthrough, so clearly I enjoyed it enough to want to play through it again.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? I'd give it like a 9.5 out of 10.
That's more like it.
I would probably give like a 9 out of 10 to 2018 as well. This game has like the shit I liked from 2018, which was like the vast majority of the stuff in it, and just gave me more of it. And better in some cases.
Yeah.
And got rid of... I mean, seriously, the lack of boss variety was the biggest problem in the last game, and they completely corrected it. So there's very little to complain about on my part. Like, what's most people's major complaint? Oh, the Atreus sections and the accessibility features do too much accessibility. Oh, woe is me.
The biggest complaint, the backseat gaming. That's
The
about
fucking
it.
backseating. Let me turn it off, Santa Monica, please. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about.
Good
And the
game.
stream went on for about as long as I expected, so yeah. God of War
Happy to
Ragnarok.
have been here.
I'm glad you were here as well.
Very good gameplay.
Yeah. If you guys, for some reason, somehow are here and you didn't watch my playthrough, well, you know, it's all recorded on the channel. You can go watch it. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you guys around. Take care. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Bye.